Guess I gotta make a long video.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
Before I start, I have a confession to make, and that is that I haven't done an off the top of my head video in so long. I don't know how good this thing is going to be, but hopefully it's good enough. And please do let me know in the comments, because I think I honestly might have lost my touch. I've been doing scripts so long that it honestly feels weird to make a story without a script. So let's begin. I think that the way that I want to start this entire story off and the way that I want to base it is Kid Naruto, right? But not just any Kid Naruto, but Naruto when he's in the academy. Now, this is going to be about 3 years before Naruto would originally graduate from the academy. And what I want to have happen is Naruto and Sasuke are going to be sparring, right? I can just kind of imagine Naruto being in the back of the class, and eventually Iruka tells everybody that they're going to be sparring. So Naruto gets excited finally getting the chance to try out his techniques that he's been working on, because Naruto has been trying to figure out his chakra control. He's been trying to train himself up, and honestly Naruto got the drive to really begin to try and not just be that kid in the back of the class, but to really be powerful, really be somebody, you know? But ultimately Naruto would get completely embarrassed by Sasuke, and after this happens, Naruto would be very, very angry just watching Sasuke as he gets all the praise, all the girls, and just gets completely jealous. Naruto's just looking at him like, dang Sasuke, I'll show him. And he would eventually make his way home. On his way there, Naruto would get the usual odd stares, and eventually Naruto would stumble across a little swordsmith, like a swordsman shop, like a swordsmith shop, you know? Wait, yeah, like a swordsmith shop. Yes, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. Okay, he would stumble across a swordsmith shop, going inside, and you know, like just looking at the swords, it would be here that when he would enter, he would turn and see a young girl, somebody that he's actually never seen at his, like he's seen at the academy before, but she's not in his class because she's a grade above him. So Naruto would see Tenten, yep, Tenten, and he would end up seeing that she's actually training with her father. When Naruto sees this, he would watch them, and he would watch in amazement as he would slip in, falling into the building, and eventually they would stop as the man would turn to Naruto and ask what he's doing here. Naruto would say that it just looked awesome what they were doing, and he would go on to explain that it's called Kenjutsu, the art of swordsmanship. Naruto, seeing this, would be completely caught off guard, looking at the sword, would just fall in love with the craft and ask him if he could try its sword. As from here, the man would grab the sword that's on his waist, toss it to Naruto, and Naruto would unsheath it slowly, just staring at it in awe. And the man could just see the look of just, I want to become powerful with this thing, like this could be my key. And Naruto would be thinking, is like, I can't use taijutsu, you know, like obviously he could, you know, he's strong, like because he's physically strong because of the Kyuubi, but he can't exactly use taijutsu to the point where Sasuke's at. His, you know, ninjutsu's terrible, his stamina's okay, and Naruto overall is just not exactly the strongest fighter that he could be with the tools that he currently has at his disposal. So Naruto, looking at this sword, would see a tool, a way to finally surpass his limits, or at least the limits that he knows to have at this moment. At this moment, Naruto would just be in a state of like, this is it, you know? And he would begin swinging it, and you know, Tenten's father would just look at him and laugh, saying, oh, you're doing it wrong, kid, before then telling Tenten to show him. And in this moment, Naruto would look towards Tenten, who would begin to show him how to actually swing the sword properly. Naruto, watching this, would end up asking how he can go about getting a sword, and he would say how much. Suddenly the man would tell him it's a pretty hefty price, and Naruto would feel almost depression hit him, you know what I mean? But like that iconic Hashirama like sad face that like he does is exactly what Naruto would do. And in this moment, you know, Tenten's father would look at Naruto, or let me fix my mic. Tenten's father would look at Naruto and say, don't worry about it, kid. First one's on me. But you gotta promise, you gotta keep coming here and buying stuff when you get older. And you know, Naruto just looks at him and he gets this sparkle in his eyes. He just says, really? From here, Tenten's dad like looks down, nods, and gives him like a decent sword, like not even a cheap one, but like a very decent sword. Tenten would look at her father and say, "Dad, but we're low on money as it is." And he would say, "Tenten, what's the point of having all these swords here if nobody's gonna use them? At least the next generation could get a chance." And from here, Naruto would go on to say that he promises that he's gonna become one of the strongest ninjas ever with the sword. And from here, you know, Tenten's dad smiles and Tenten says, "Sure, but first you gotta learn how to hold it," before Naruto realizes that his grip was all wrong. And from here, Naruto would actually begin, after training in the academy, going to the swordsmith's shop every single day and training alongside Tenten and her father, going on to become very, very close friends with Tenten. And before you guys start thinking anything weird, no, there's not going to be any ships or anything like that. I just really don't feel like doing that. And not only that, but they're kids, and you know, I'm not exactly a kid anymore myself, so I can't be making those dumb jokes I used to. Just in retrospect, kind of goofy, but regardless, what pretty much ends up happening after this is that Naruto would just grow stronger and stronger and stronger every day. Tenten would still be more powerful than Naruto, but Naruto's getting there. And I guess right now you could kind of say they have a sort of Kuina and Zoro relationship, but not really. It just so happens that Tenten's a girl and she's like a weaponsmith, so it would sort of make sense that her father would have the shop, and that's kind of why I did it. I'm not sure if this is even like canon material, but regardless though, point still stands that Naruto's training with Tenten's father. And the interesting thing here would be that Tenten's father is actually not even like actually her dad, you know what I mean? How do I put, actually no, he is her dad. I was about to like go on a different like tangent and like change the story up a lot, but I think that it's honestly, yeah, it's perfect. I think it's perfect. I think that where we're at right now is perfect, so I'm gonna leave that the same. And Naruto would be getting stronger day by day. Eventually a year would pass and Naruto would once again finally spar in the classroom, but obviously he's not allowed to use real swords there because it's like he doesn't want to kill anybody. So using a wooden sword, Naruto would actually spar against Kiba, and he would actually surprise everybody because in this moment Naruto would actually handily defeat Kiba, with Kiba being shocked, just being completely stunned, saying that's not fair. Naruto used the sword. And so Naruto would say, well, it's not fair for him that he's over here using, you know, ninjutsu and all this stuff, and he gets to use his shuriken. It's the same thing, Naruto would say. So after this, Naruto would just go home and like just begin practicing by himself, hitting push-ups and stuff, just doing like weight training or free body, or like or free weight training. Wait, what's it called? Body weight training. Yeah, body weight training. Similar to what Asa does, just getting buff and like a stronger every day. Obviously the kid is, you know, a kid, so he's not exactly getting like super big and ripped, but he's definitely getting improvements when it comes to his muscle mass and stuff like that. He'll just do the basic, you know, like stuff that everybody else can do when you get that 3 a.m. motivation and you just are like, I'm gonna buy my dad a house, my mom a house, my dad a car, my mom a car, my sister a car, my brother a car, I'm gonna buy me a house, you know, like he just gets those like that's how he looks when he's hitting push-ups in the morning, you know. And he'd hit about 1,000 push-ups a day, 1,000 sit-ups a day. Dang, I don't think that there's anybody even on our planet that could actually do that. 1,000 sit-ups, 1,000 push-ups, whatever. Regardless though, Naruto after doing this would just absolutely go nuts to butts and continue training with Tenten and her father. And eventually the full 3 years would pass where Naruto would be in the back of the classroom with a sword on his back, just simply thinking to himself that this class is so unbelievably boring. Eventually, Naruto would go to the front of the classroom where Iruka would ask Naruto to perform the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto going up there, realizing that he never really did practice that, but he's mainly just been focusing on his Kenjutsu skills, and by now has far surpassed Tenten, would go on to like try and attempt the Shadow Clone Jutsu, but obviously it'd be a complete one-sided flop. That Shadow Clone would be weak sauce. It would look like a kid that's about to pass out, like, or not even pass out, but straight collapse to the ground. And Naruto in this moment would fail. From here, he'd be told by Iruka, and not only Iruka, but what's that guy's name? The guy with the white hair? Mizuki as well, that he failed. But Mizuki would ultimately go on and tell Naruto that there is another way, going on to explain to him the portion of the scroll. Now Naruto would find this extremely fishy considering the fact that he's never heard of anything like that. Tenten never mentioned anything like that, and not only that, but Tenten's father never mentioned that. And we're gonna go ahead and give him a name. His name is gonna be Tenzo. So Tenzo never mentioned anything. Hopefully I can remember that. But Naruto in this moment, just knowing that if he doesn't do this, he's never gonna be able to quote unquote become the greatest swordsman ever, or even the strongest ninja with his swordsman skills, if he doesn't at least become a genin. So in this moment, Naruto would put in the back of his mind everything that he knows and would go on to steal the scroll of sealing very easily, might I add. Eventually meeting Mizuki in the forest, where Naruto would actually get very curious and just like in canon, would go on to actually learn a jutsu from the scroll of sealing. And this jutsu would of course still be the multi-shadow clone jutsu, and he would really learn nothing else. But once he does learn this specific jutsu, Mizuki would come out and eventually begin monologuing, calling Naruto a fool. As from here, he goes on to try to throw a demon wind shuriken at Naruto, but Naruto would quickly dodge out of the way, and jumping from tree to tree would get in front of Mizuki as he would say, "You're the fool," going on to grab his other blade that he has at his side and slashing at the direction of Mizuki's chest, creating an X-shaped gash as Mizuki's body would fall on the floor, and immediately Iruka would arrive, watching as Naruto completely destroyed Mizuki. In this moment, Naruto turns towards Iruka and says that he set him up for failure. He told him that if he did this, he was going to be being promoted to genin. And Iruka would just look at him before then saying thanks for taking out that, this rogue ninja. And so after this, Naruto would be called into the Hiruzen's office, where he would basically be congratulated, and Hiruzen himself would actually end up moving Naruto over to be a genin, saying that even though he doesn't know very much when it comes to like the shadow clone jutsu, at least he was able to take out a Chuunin. But Naruto in this moment would say, actually, Hokage, I think I did learn it. As from here, he goes on to create the signs for the multi-shadow clone jutsu and performs it perfectly, astonishing Iruka and Hiruzen, who both in this moment realized that because Naruto had so much chakra, it was almost impossible for him to actually mold the chakra properly. Oh, and by the way, I know that there's like a lot of mess ups and audio stuff like that, or not audio mess ups, but like just my voice, like I'm messing up. And that's mainly just because of the fact that I'm not going with the script. I'm not like pausing or unpausing. I'm not going to be adding a filter to this video, and I'm not editing the audio. I couldn't be bothered. I'm already going to have to get the thumbnail made, which is going to cost a hefty amount of money, and I'm also going to be having to make this, and I'm definitely not adding subtitles because that would take me like a day to do, and I'm definitely not adding no clips to this video because that would literally destroy my motivation to make this video. So gameplay in the background, it's going to be me and my boys playing Fortnite. Enjoy it or don't, not my problem. But most of you are probably listening to this as an audiobook anyway, so who cares? But anyways, what would pretty much end up happening after this is Naruto would find himself in the classroom the very next day. Well, actually, no, before that, Naruto would actually end up running to the house of Tenten and her father, Tenzo, where he would actually end up telling the both of them that he passed. After defeating Mizuki, Hiruzen moved them up to being a genin, and Tenzo would say he knew he could do it. If anything, Naruto's almost low Jonin level. He's extremely powerful for his age. And even Tenten would agree, saying that of course he is. He's way surpassed her long since. Like at the 2-year mark, Naruto completely blew by her level of strength, and she was already a genin. So Tenten would give Naruto his, well-deserved props. And in this moment, Naruto would go on to basically just head home, sleep, make his way to the classroom, and eventually once there, the teams would be assigned. Just like in canon, I really don't want to waste your guys' time with information that stays the same. Team 7 would still consist of Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto, as well as Kakashi being the sensei, and eventually they would have their introductions, with the only change being that Naruto's goal isn't necessarily becoming the Hokage, but becoming the greatest swordsman ever, which would actually shock Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura, who know that Naruto, or not Kakashi doesn't know, but Sakura and Sasuke both know that Naruto is a very, very skilled swordsman, like already at his age. And Naruto's like basic look, which is something that I haven't really gotten into, is what should Naruto's look be? Let's see. Naruto is just like a very casual look going on, like where Naruto just kind of wears a hoodie, these just the ninja pants and the little like sandals that the ninjas wear, and that's pretty much it. Like that's Naruto's ninja outfit. And not only does he have a headband, but he actually doesn't wear it on his forehead like the thumbnail would suggest, but he but he actually only does that whenever he gets serious. He only puts it on to hold his hair back, you know? But most of the time, Naruto actually wears it around his arm, you know, kind of just tied there, just like Shikamaru does. And that would be like the Naruto look. Not only that, but Naruto's hair would be like a couple inches longer than it is in canon. So like 4, meaning it's not spiked up, but it kind of like droops down a little bit. So he has like a cool, like, I don't know, just like a very cool like Naruto hair wet kind of like hair, you know, like it almost looks like his hair is wet, you know? And if you guys have seen how Naruto looks when his hair is like not spiky, but actually just like going down, it actually looks pretty badass, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, with that said, what pretty much ends up going down is that eventually the day of the bell test would arrive, and just like you guys would expect, Kakashi would be late per usual. And while this is all happening, Naruto would literally just be there taking a nap until eventually Kakashi would arrive, and immediately Naruto would stand up as he just stares at Kakashi's bells at his side and would hear the explanation of what's about to happen. As soon as the test would begin, Naruto would immediately just stand there as Sasuke and Sakura would jump into the bushes trying to hide, but Naruto just stares right back at Kakashi and says he's not going anywhere. So if he thinks he is, he's gravely mistaken. And Kakashi would look at Naruto wondering to himself why this kid's not moving, but Naruto would go on to then unsheath his blade and would say one sword style, as he then looks towards Kakashi and asks him if he's not going to take him seriously. Kakashi having Makeout Paradise in his hand, Naruto in this moment would say that he's a fool, as from here he rushes in and would immediately stun Kakashi, who would dodge out of the way, but unfortunately, Makeout Paradise would not. And it would get cut in half as Kakashi stares at this and his aura would explode. Bro taps into KCM2, Hagoromo Sage of Six Paths mode. I'm just kidding, but no, Kakashi, like he cries at this moment practically. And he just looks at Naruto with just this look of like, now you've done it. In this moment, Kakashi would get serious, whipping out a kunai, and would begin to actually counter Naruto's blade swings, being completely stunned at the strength that is being displayed in Naruto. Naruto's not like he's beating him, but he's actually holding up very well against Kakashi without his Sharingan, mind you. And Naruto would begin amping it up, just going crazier, slashing, parrying, you know, like dodging Kakashi's blows, jumping back, you know, using the field to his advantage. And eventually Naruto would come down with a slash as Kakashi, using his kunai, just pretty much parries it. And Naruto would realize that one sword style is definitely not going to be enough. So in this moment, Naruto would go towards the side as he unsheaths his other blade and would say two sword style. As from here, he begins getting ready and begins rushing in once more, slashing at Kakashi, who would dodge with two kunais in each hand and would actually begin being like pushed back by Naruto. Ever so slightly, Naruto realizing this would smirk. But it would be in this moment that Kakashi would finally begin taking Naruto seriously as an opponent, and Kakashi would begin pushing Naruto back heavily as Naruto's just watching this, realizing that he needs more strength. Like, how is it possible that he can't even catch bells? Like, his goal this whole time hasn't been necessarily to slash at Kakashi, but his goal has been to cut off the bells so he could grab them, and he hasn't even been able to do that. Some swordsman he is, he would think. From here, he would jump back as he would say that if I can't beat him by myself, I guess I'll need a little help. From here, going on to create the hand sign for the multi-shadow clone jutsu, and from here, 100 Naruto shadow clones with swords would come out, mind you, and with both blades, they would rush in, saying two sword style, as they would rush in at Kakashi, who would actually in this moment definitely have to open his Sharingan, shocking Sasuke, who's watching in the bushes, and would be able to parry, counter, and using jutsus like fireball jutsus, mud wall jutsu, shadow clones himself, and even the substitution jutsu, would be able to finally overwhelm all the shadow clones until eventually Naruto would come in from the top, slashing his sword at Kakashi, trying to actually cut him, but Kakashi would dodge with his kunai. And as this is happening, Sasuke would come rushing in literally last second and would like snag both the bells, with Naruto just like being like, dang it, I couldn't do that. And both swords are currently in this moment like slicing down at Kakashi, who wasn't able to dodge or parry or even like create a shadow clone or nothing like that. But eventually Sasuke holds both bells out and tosses one to Naruto, who would then look at Sasuke and like nod, understanding like what just happened, Sasuke doesn't think Naruto's like a loser, because once Naruto started training, he started adopting a different personality of not like, I want the attention, but I'm gonna work in silence and I'm gonna outwork everybody. I'm gonna be the strongest. Like, he started getting more serious and adopted a more Zoro-like personality, I guess you could say, right? Like a more cool, like laid back, like just cool guy personality, you know what I mean? And with that, they were both able to get the bells, which would lead Kakashi to clap and be like, well, 2 of you guys are gonna move on, so go ahead and choose. Naruto in this moment would look down at his bell, look towards Sakura, and would think to himself that honestly, he can wait a little longer to become the greatest swordsman. He wasn't even able to take out the bells from Kakashi himself, so whatever. He guesses he'll let Sakura go. He tosses his belt to Sakura, but in that moment, Sasuke would have done so as well, which would show to Kakashi that they were both being selfless in that moment. And in this moment, Kakashi would say, you both pass. And in fact, all 3 of you pass. As they would all be shocked, and Kakashi would explain the real motive of the bell test, going on to tell each of them that the true meaning of this test was teamwork. And that's it. That's it. Just teamwork. Immediately, everybody there would be stunned, and it would be at this point that following this, they kind of just go out and eat ramen just like they would in the original without Naruto being tied to the stump. But once that happens, we would get 2 weeks worth of D-rank missions, which would pretty much be very useless, and eventually we would get the Tazuna mission being assigned to Team 7. However, during those 2 weeks, Naruto would have began actually not working on, but sort of like more or less perfecting his 3-sword style, realizing that 2 swords wasn't enough. So what about 3? And that's what Naruto would have been working on, trying to refine and kind of perfect, which he still hasn't gotten down, but Naruto's working on that, you know what I mean? And so he would do that, he would weight train, and using his shadow clones, actually, Naruto would actually end up realizing the trick of the shadow clones way earlier on than in the original. So his training would be like just supercharged during those 2 weeks, and after those 2 weeks would be over, Naruto would be a completely different beast. I'm not saying like he's like already stronger than Kakashi, obviously, but you know, when it comes to his own strength that he would have gained over 2 weeks compared to the strength that he got now, it was definitely supercharged. And his training like with the 3-sword style it's like almost done to being completed, you know what I mean? So eventually, once we get on the Tazuna bridge builder mission and they would head out, and you know, like the little 2 demon brothers would end up actually attacking them, Naruto would easily be able to like destroy one of them, with Sasuke doing the same with the other one, and eventually they would move on with the mission, with Kakashi obviously being suspicious of what's going on. But obviously eventually they continue moving forward, and eventually we would get to probably the most important arc for Naruto, which is going to be his fight against Zabuza, or what he's going to be doing in this arc, you know what I mean? Like the Land of the Waves mission, this is going to be probably the most important arc in this entire like series, because this is where Naruto is going to solidify his 3-sword style, create his ninja way, and just become a better swordsman because of this, right? So what would pretty much end up happening is that, you know, like they continue going. Eventually Zabuza would throw his blade at the team, you know what I mean, just like he does in the original. He lands on top and he would go on to say Kakashi of the Sharingan. Then eventually we get the iconic battle between Kakashi and Zabuza, with that ending with a loss on Kakashi's side and him being inside of the water prison. But as that's happening, Naruto would end up like just being like, nah, like ain't no way I'm gonna let this happen, right? So he, along with Sasuke, would devise a plan, and Naruto would end up helping Kakashi be freed. And once Kakashi gets free, Naruto would turn towards Kakashi and would actually like literally sort of beg Kakashi to let him fight him. And Kakashi would just step back, saying that he'll be here, like he'll literally be there waiting if he needs anything. And in this moment, Naruto would grab his headband, tie it around himself, as he then would say, Zabuza Momochi, you're on the bingo book. And not only that, but you're one of the legendary swordsmen of the mist. I challenge you to a sword duel, me and you. And in this moment, Zabuza would get up, as he would just look towards Naruto and laugh in his face, just completely disrespecting him, as he would go on to say, a child challenging me. And not only that, but you pushed your sensei to the side, who I already defeated, just so you could come here and lose. He would laugh in Naruto's face, as Naruto just looks at him with this serious scowl, as Zabuza would get the vibe that this kid isn't normal. suddenly he feels like an aura or like a raging beast behind of Naruto, as Naruto would turn towards the direction of Zabuza and say the battle will start shortly. 3, 2, and in this moment, Naruto would grab both swords as he lunges in at Zabuza. And slashing, he would actually keep up with a Zabuza who was only going 50%. As he slashed down, and Naruto with both of his arms would be like fighting heavily, like it's taking him all he has just to keep up with Zabuza. But in this moment, they would break the clash, jump back, and Naruto ultimately would look at him before then saying that this isn't ready, but this is his best hope. As from here, he grabs his third sword, and immediately they would rush in at each other once more. This time, Naruto would be keeping up with Zabuza, and a smile would begin to appear on Naruto's face as he looks at Zabuza and says, "This time, I'll win," pushing Zabuza back, who would say, "Kid, that's very impressive, but ultimately, there's no way you can keep up with me now." As from here, the mist would thicken and Naruto would begin losing sense of where Zabuza's at. Suddenly, Zabuza would create 6 water clones and they would rush at Naruto, with each actually slashing at Naruto and Naruto getting weakened. It'd be in this moment that Naruto would begin kind of like losing himself in this battle and would begin getting angry, as in this moment, Naruto using his blades would create kind of a tornado like slash, as he would just do it right in place, blowing the mist away and actually blowing back, not blowing them back like in the sense that they like just that the water clones like blow up, but like just like sending them back like a couple of inches, you know? And Naruto from here would say, "Enough games, Zabuza," as he lunges in, slashing at the direction of his clones and completely obliterating, as Zabuza watches in complete like just shock. In this moment, Naruto would say, "Me and you, no ninjutsu, just swordsmanship. Come on, last clash, Zabuza." In this moment, Zabuza would notice something strange about the boy. His injuries, they were healing. Naruto in this moment would look at Zabuza and begin to prepare his slash, as Zabuza would look at the boy, smirk and say, "Fine, have it your way." As from here, Zabuza would go on and get his blade ready, looking towards the direction of Naruto and charging his chakra into his blades, which is something that that Naruto still doesn't know how to do, would actually slash at the direction of Naruto, breaking through, like not just breaking, but breaking 2 of his swords, meaning Naruto's now only left with 1 sword, and would end up actually slashing Naruto across the chest, as Naruto would fall onto one knee and just pass out unconscious, having been defeated by Zabuza Momochi, realizing that he wasn't strong enough. In this moment, Naruto would pass out, and when he would wake up in the house of Tazuna after Kakashi would have ended up whipping his Sharingan out, defeating Zabuza, and eventually Haku would end up jumping into action and saving her master, which would leave Naruto to just get up and just like hit the bed, just like angry that he lost. He would try to get up and realize that he can't. And it would be in this moment that Naruto would get angry. Obviously, it's not like the slash is all the way there because it had healed mostly because of the fact that he has the QB. So Naruto will be able to get up in another like 4 days. But ultimately, Naruto would practically be bedridden. And eventually, as soon as Naruto gets up, he amps his training up to the absolute max, having about 4 days to train before the bridge battle would finally commence. And during those days, Naruto would not play any games. Naruto would create tons of clones, practicing slashes. Like each clone would perform 1,000 slashes, 1,000 slashes, 1,000 slashes, and he would just get stronger. It's almost like repetitive punches, kicks, and all that stuff. He would work out with each clone and would begin getting stronger day by day, knowing that he's not gonna lose ever again. Vowing that to himself, not like Zoro did where he like cries, but no, Naruto would simply vow it to himself. And in this moment, Naruto doesn't actually have 2 swords to practice with like other people would, but Naruto actually has only 1 sword, and he doesn't have any way to access the other 2 because, you know, obviously they were broken. But luckily the sword that he does have is the one that Zozu, I don't know, bro, the name that I gave for I was about to say Kuina, but no, Tenten's dad, Tenzo, yeah, the sword that Tenzo gave to Naruto. So Naruto would practice with that sword alone, and eventually after the 4 days would be over, Naruto again would reach a new level, having worked himself to the bone. Obviously, during this time, he would literally pass out in the field because of how hard he's working out, and during this time, he would have actually ended up meeting Haku and all that stuff, so yada yada yada. And she would tell him that he would get a lot stronger if he had something to fight for. And this is what Naruto finally realizes, like, he doesn't necessarily have anything to fight for. You know, he's not really that close with Sasuke. He doesn't really care too much about Sakura. His sensei is more than capable enough of keeping up with himself. So what does Naruto have to protect? Really, nothing. But eventually the day of the bridge builder fight would pretty much end up going down. And on this particular day, Naruto would completely oversleep just because of the fact that he was working way too hard in the forest. But what would pretty much end up going down is that after Naruto wakes up, you know what I mean? Like after Naruto wakes up, he would hear commotion, and there would be actually two swordsmen or two of Gato's men there who were actually terrorizing, what's the name? Who were actually terrorizing, what's the name of the kid? Koda? No, not Koda, that's MHA, but Inari and his mother Tsunade, right? So Naruto made quick work of both of them, and after he was done doing that, Naruto would rush to the battlefield, only to see Zabuza fighting against Kakashi. And Naruto would look at Zabuza, he would look at Sasuke, and Naruto would say, "Zabuza, I want a rematch." In this moment, like everything would stop because Naruto would have yelled like so loud it almost reached like the sky, you know? And in this moment, Zabuza would like get space with Kakashi and say, "What do you say, Kakashi? You think you want to let your brat die this time?" As from here, Kakashi would say he'll never do that. And from here, Kakashi would realize that Sasuke is actually in the ice crystal mirror jutsu. So Kakashi actually realizes that he kind of has to go help Sasuke. And Naruto just looks at Kakashi and says, "Kakashi, I promise you, I won't lose. Help Sasuke." In this moment, Kakashi just looks at him, nods, and says, "You better not, Naruto. I'm trusting you." And in this moment, Naruto just stares at Zabuza and says, "Well, let's pick this off where we left off." Zabuza saying that this battle is going to end exactly how it did just a couple days ago. As Naruto says, he's not too sure about that. Immediately, Naruto and Zabuza would rush in at each other, and one thing would become painfully obvious. Naruto is not the same as he was a week ago, and Naruto would actually be able to hold off against a Zabuza who's not holding back this time around. Zabuza's blatantly trying to kill Naruto, and Naruto's actually clashing and keeping up with Zabuza. So every time that their blades would clash, Naruto would be able to actually keep up with him, and Zabuza would begin getting pushed back and getting angrier and angrier. However, just because Naruto's able to keep up with him in terms of strength doesn't mean that Zabuza isn't able to actually damage Naruto, because he is slightly still a bit stronger than Naruto in this moment. As the battle progresses, Kakashi, Sasuke, and Haku would be having their own battle, and even though like this battle would be something sort of interesting to cover, I really don't want to put my time into that. I kind of just want to cover mainly Naruto stuff, but just know Kakashi and Sasuke together, both of them having their Sharingans, once Sasuke unlocks his, I think will be enough to actually defeat Haku, with them both using their teamwork without, but with the absence of Naruto's Kurama crazy freak out moment, you know what I mean? So what would pretty much end up happening in this moment is we would get Naruto Zabuza clashing, with both combatants being completely beat up at this point. I mean, it's not even funny. They're both definitely heavily damaged, and Zabuza and Naruto would just get to a point where they understand that they need to finish this battle quickly. Naruto, because of the fact that, you know, as a swordsman, he has pride in what he does, and he's trained so unbelievably hard for this moment, it would kill him to know that he would lose this battle. So what Naruto would end up actually doing is just looking at Zabuza, closing his eyes, focusing, getting in tune with the senses, and as Zabuza would come in and try to strike at Naruto, it's almost like he's able to see it happen in slow motion as he dodges out of the way. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this would be observation haki which kicks in, right? And what would end up going down in this moment is that Naruto, using observation haki, would be able to read Zabuza like a book. With his eyes closed, Naruto would dodge one more of Zabuza's attacks before then opening them and snapping out of that like mode and rushing back in at Zabuza, who's completely caught off guard, meaning he would land a powerful slash and eventually he would jump back, creating space between himself and Zabuza before then turning towards him and knowing that he doesn't have that much more stamina left. Sure, he has endurance, but he's not about to play this game with Zabuza. And so Naruto would begin breathing in, as in this moment he hopes that his how do I put it? He kind of hopes that his observation haki, which he's unsure of what it is at this moment, would kick in. So Naruto just kind of like breathes in and would be like, one sword style, as he would rush in towards Zabuza saying, lion strike. In this moment, both Naruto and Zabuza would rush in at each other and they would both end up actually, you know, like clashing, obviously, just like anime swordsman style. And just like the first time that Zoro actually did use one sword style against the opponent who was actually made out of iron, would end up completely slashing Zabuza in the chest, as just like in every other anime scene in the world, Zabuza falls to his knees, then hits the ground, and simultaneously, just to like add to the effect, Haku would actually be knocked out with Kakashi, who would use a, I don't know, like just a random genjutsu, no, not genjutsu, but just taijutsu, ninjutsu attack, right? A combo wombo attack from Sasuke and Kakashi. But with this happening, we would basically get Naruto looking at Zabuza and just kind of like saying that he was a good match. Like he would just be like, good fight, you know, kind of like GG's, you know what I mean? But in this moment, he would then turn towards Kakashi as he would give him a thumbs up and tell him he told him he wouldn't lose. And Kakashi said he knew he wouldn't. As in this moment, we would pretty much end up getting Gato and his men ending up arriving in front of the bridge, and Gato and all his men would be there with a weakened Kakashi, Sasuke, and also Naruto there. There was really not much that they were going to be able to do in terms of intimidation factor. Obviously, they would have been able to beat Gato and his men, but it would have taken a lot more effort. And in this moment, Gato would begin speaking up about Zabuza, trash talking him and just saying that he was a piece of garbage, that he knew he wasn't going to be able to complete this job. In this moment, Zabuza would stand back up, shocking Gato, as you can see that Zabuza practically has one foot in the grave already. And in this moment, you know, Zabuza just looks at Naruto as he would tell him to toss him like a kunai, right? So Naruto grabs onto it, right? Tossing him the said kunai, and Zabuza goes in there and completely obliterates Gato's men just like he does in the original, ultimately killing Gato. After this happens, Naruto, turning towards the direction of Zabuza's body, would think to himself that he's finally done it. He's gonna level further what he thought was possible. And so Naruto would dig up a grave for Zabuza as he would go on to bury him and Haku, who actually, wait, no, that's not what happens. Okay, because Haku wasn't killed this time around because he doesn't jump in the way of the Chidori, and instead Haku like wakes up only to see Naruto like digging a grave for Zabuza and like just paying his respects to him. Haku would just like look at Naruto and just like stand right next to him and say that like he can't believe he's gone. And Naruto would say that he was a, you know, while he might not have been a perfect man or some sort of like saint, he was a great swordsman, and he's always gonna pay him respect for that. In this moment, Naruto would be holding onto the blade of Zabuza's. He would turn towards Haku and wonder if he should give it to her or he should keep it. Obviously, he defeated Zabuza, so he rightfully earned it. But in this moment, Naruto would be told by Haku that it's okay, he can keep the blade. Haku would say, I think Zabuza would have wanted you to have it. As from here, Naruto would look towards Haku and ask, what are you gonna do now? And Haku would say that his life's purpose was Zabuza, but without Zabuza, he doesn't really know. By the way, pretty soon I'm going to be doing a What If Naruto Would Ice release, so all I'm saying is check that video out when it comes out. So turn on those post notifications, like the video, and subscribe. Shameless plug. But anyways, no. Yeah, what pretty much ended up happening after this is... what would happen? Oh yeah, they would return to the village, and once they do return to the village, a couple cool things would actually end up going down. Number one, they would end up, after informing Hiruzen of how the mission went down, obviously, end up running into the Sand siblings, which the encounter would actually change a little bit more than you guys would expect, because this time around, Naruto isn't fighting to make his presence known. Naruto doesn't care whether Gaara thinks he's cool, whether, you know, Kankuro thinks he's strong, but The second that Naruto sees that, Kankuro is being messed with, just the way that Zoro would step in for somebody that he knows is weaker and can't defend himself, Naruto would step in and defend Kankuro for him, smiling before then whipping out one of his blades, and Kankuro saying it's not even worth it, with Gaara eventually appearing, making his presence known, and eventually we would get the team separating, with Naruto's first stop after this being going to Tenzo's weapon shop, right? Where once he would end up arriving, he would see Tenten, or actually, nah, I'm not gonna say he sees Tenten, but instead, I'm gonna say Tenten is out on a mission currently, and she's gonna be returning tomorrow. Yeah, she's gonna be returning tomorrow. So Naruto would be like, Tenzo, like, how's everything going? And, Naruto then would end up showing him Zabuza's blade, as Tenzo's eyes would almost pop out of his head, and he would be like, how did you get this? With Naruto saying that he defeated Zabuza Momoichi, as, Tenzo would just be like, no freaking wait, like, kid, do you have any idea how strong that dude is? Like, how much money you can make on the bingo book? But Naruto would say he's not in it for that. He's not a bounty hunter. If you only knew who he was the reincarnation of. But anyways, no. What would pretty much end up happening is Naruto would say that both of his other blades were broken in this fight, however, by Zabuza, and he was wondering if there was anything that they could do with this blade. It completely doesn't suit his sword fighting style, so if there's any way that he could maybe smelt it down, use the same iron properties to create two other blades, that'd be perfect. And Tenzo would say that with iron as fine as this and its chakra nature, or not chakra natures, but its strange properties that it has of like being able to like regenerate the blades by blood, or not by blood, but the iron in blood, right? Because one thing that Naruto did notice while he was fighting Zabuza was that when he would like clash with him, Zabuza's sword would chip slightly, but like blood would like get on the blade, and it's almost like it would instantly regenerate. So Naruto would test the theory itself on their way back to Konoha, where he would like kind of chip the sword by hitting it against a rock and then just like pouring some of his blood on the blade, as the blade itself would like begin regenerating itself. And with that, like, Naruto just thinks it's awesome, like a blade that can basically regenerate from anything. It's so cool. So Tenzo would end up forming these blades for Naruto. Unfortunately though, they won't be ready in time for the Chuunin exams beginning, but we'll see when they're done. What would pretty much end up happening after this is we would get 1 week worth of training from Naruto, with him mainly using the first 2 days to heal himself, and then another 4 days of like light training, not using the multi-shadow clone technique, but just working on his physical body, kind of almost like physical therapy, you know what I mean? And that's the main thing that Naruto would focus on. Eventually we would get to the day where the team would finally end up making their way towards the Chuunin Tower, or genin like academy, right? Where there would be held the Chuunin exams, what's not the finals, but like the written portion, right? And on their way there, what happens here again? Oh yeah, just like in the original, Lee ends up actually challenging Sasuke, because just like in the original, he still is Rookie of the Year. And so what would pretty much end up happening is that Sasuke would get completely destroyed by Lee, and after this happens, Naruto would finally make it apparent that he actually has a bit of a connection to Lee, like kind of like acknowledging Lee, saying hi and saying that he shouldn't have done Sasuke that dirty, with Sasuke like getting up and being like, what? Like, you knew this kid, and you knew he was stronger than me, and you let me fight him? And Naruto just looked at him and said he needed to get humbled, and he wasn't gonna be doing it. They're on the same team after all. From here, Sasuke would kind of like look at Naruto with this like angry look and like not liking him for a second, but eventually Neji would end up arriving, and what you guys would expect would completely not happen, because Naruto actually knows Neji, and there's heavy respect there for each other, because they both know how strong the other one is, with Tenten having told Neji of the fact that Naruto killed one of the 7 legendary swordsmen of the mist, Zabuza Momoichi, and Naruto knowing that Neji is a Hyuga prodigy in every sense of the word. So Naruto's like very excited to face off against a Hyuga, considering that his fighting style is going to be super interesting for Naruto to have to deal with, and Neji is super intrigued with finding out how strong he really is, if all the things that Tenten is saying are just her hyping him up or what. But eventually what would pretty much end up happening is they take the test, and because this part's boring, I'm gonna skip it. So after they take the test, we would find ourselves in the Forest of Death. And here is where we would get a couple changes, nothing too crazy. First change being that this time around, once Naruto goes off to take a leak just like he does in canon, this Naruto actually does know the password, because he's not the same as he is in canon, obviously. And another change is going to be happening, that is another small one, is that when the giant snake attacks Naruto like it does in canon, I think something awesome that should happen here with Naruto being a swordsman is like the snake would like lunge at him and there would be like a giant tree in front of Naruto, right? So Naruto jumps up into the air, the snake would latch onto the tree, like bite onto it, having missed Naruto completely, and Naruto would be coming down, as from here Naruto would slash the head the head of the snake clean off of its body, as immediately Naruto can hear a bit of commotion coming off in the direction of where he left his teammates, as he would rush in and sees Sasuke facing off against Naruto, who this like fake Naruto aka Orochimaru wouldn't be able to portray Naruto's personality on the dot, because Naruto is just so like he just has such a like unique personality, you know what I mean? And the way that Naruto would say the password wouldn't be the way that, you know, Orochimaru portrayed it. So Sasuke was easily able to deduce that, yeah, this isn't Naruto. So immediately Sasuke began to question and actually try to defeat this Naruto, but immediately Orochimaru would make it clear that he's not going to be defeated. And not only that, but he'd make it very clear that he's on another level. Eventually, Sasuke would end up having to stab himself in the leg due to how much fear he was feeling, and he would override that feeling with pain. So he and Sakura would be able to get out of the way just enough, and it'd be in this moment that Orochimaru would begin to actually just play with his food when it comes to Sasuke and Sakura. So once Naruto ends up arriving, Orochimaru would actually be just about to, I was about to say cut Sasuke, but no, bite Sasuke, right? He would be just about to bite Sasuke, and in this moment, like, Naruto comes flying in, he slashes at the head of Orochimaru, and Orochimaru like has his head kind of roll off on the ground. But in this moment, the body would like poof into smoke, and Orochimaru would appear behind Naruto, who would be shocked to his core. In this moment, Naruto would turn around only to get kicked away, and Naruto, using his blade, would stab it into a tree as he would catch himself and then look towards the direction of Orochimaru, who in this moment would look at Naruto with the disguise and then smile, saying, "Kid, you're about 100 years away from being able to provide me a challenge," as he would lick his lips just like Orochimaru always does. And in this moment, Naruto would scream out to Sasuke saying, "Sasuke, I need your help. We're not going to beat this guy alone." And Sasuke in this moment would just be frozen in fear, knowing that he almost just died or something. And Naruto in this moment would have to rush in at Orochimaru, trying to fight him off, but Orochimaru would embarrass Naruto, not giving him any chance to actually look like he's even remotely possibly close to winning. And Naruto would begin taking this pretty hard, knowing that he made a vow to never lose again, but somebody this strong might just make him have to break that promise. So what Naruto would end up actually having to do is just fight by himself, and nothing but his sheer willpower would keep Naruto going. He's going all out, and Orochimaru is making a mockery out of Naruto. It's like night and day how strong Zabuza is when compared to Orochimaru. Like, it's two completely different tiers of fighters. So eventually, after Naruto continues to get beat on by Orochimaru, Naruto would get to a point in time where his movements begin to get more sluggish. He begins to get weaker. And Naruto, without nothing but his willpower alone and that sheer determination to never lose again, would begin getting stronger and stronger by the second. Orochimaru, actually getting extremely impressed by Naruto's movements and capabilities, would end up actually giving Naruto some heavy props for the fact that he's able to even keep up whatsoever. But Naruto wouldn't care about that. He wants to cut this guy's head off completely. And in this moment, Naruto knows this guy isn't a regular genin. He has to be someone powerful, someone legendary. In this moment, Orochimaru would come in, would shoot a bunch of like jutsus at Naruto, which Naruto, using his blade, would cut up, and eventually Orochimaru would begin getting closer, getting about to actually land the finishing blow when Naruto would dodge, actually shocking Orochimaru, who didn't expect Naruto to be able to dodge any of his attacks, but Naruto would do so, and Orochimaru would be stunned by this course of actions when suddenly Sasuke would come flying in saying, "I'm not finished," shooting a fire-style fireball jutsu at the direction of Orochimaru, who has to dodge out of the way, giving Naruto just enough time to catch his breath and then look back towards Orochimaru. In this moment, Naruto would say that his power's not enough, and he would begin getting angrier and angrier, as suddenly his facial structure would begin to change slightly. His whiskers would begin getting more animalistic, his eyes would get Kurama's pupils embedded, and it's almost as if this strange aura would begin surrounding Naruto. And in this moment, Naruto would blitz off towards the direction of Orochimaru, leaving like a crater, not a crater, but like breaking the tree branch that he was just on, like leaving like his footprint there as he shoots off towards Orochimaru. And with his blade, Naruto would try to use the same attack that he would have used on Zabuza when he took him out, using one sword style, Lion Strike. But Orochimaru would have actually ended up just substituting out of the way. So what Naruto would cut in half would be a tree log. And mid-air, Orochimaru, knowing that Naruto's going to become a problem if he gets any stronger, would rush in at Naruto, hit him with a powerful attack before then using the 5-pronged seal on Naruto and taking him out of commission, leading Naruto to be completely knocked out, and then rush towards Sasuke, who tries his hardest to keep him off of himself, but eventually it would be futile, leading to Orochimaru biting him on his neck and ultimately succeeding in his goal of turning Sasuke into a bearer of the curse mark. After this would happen, we would eventually get Sakura, who would end up taking both Naruto and Sasuke to a cave, where eventually events would line up just like they do in canon, with the exception of one thing changing. This time Naruto doesn't wake up to actually see Sasuke raging out and rampaging, so when Sakura ends up telling Sasuke to please stop, and he would do so, that would be around the time that Naruto does wake up. So Naruto doesn't bear witness to the power that Sasuke puts into display right here, and eventually Sasuke would get the curse mark sealed by Kakashi just like he does in the original. So now we covered all this stuff. What's left? Oh yeah, right. Now we get into the 1v1 battles in the Chuunin exams preliminaries, due to the fact that just like in canon, there's way too many people, right? And I think that just like in the normal story, I'm going to keep all the battles the same. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. So Naruto was to face off against Kiba, but I'm not exactly going to sit here, elongate the battle, or drag it on. I'm pretty sure we all know what's going to happen. So in one fell whoop, not one fell whoop splash, but I think Naruto should take out Kiba very easily. In fact, I want it to be in a very like disrespectful manner too. So I want Naruto to beat Kiba, not with his blade, but with the hilt of it, right? Like smacking Kiba in the head and just knocking him out, showing everybody in the crowd just how set apart he is from every other genin, right? And then we would obviously get the battle between Sasuke and the genin that he faces off in canon, defeating him just like he would in the original, and we would eventually get the battle between Hinata and Neji, in which Naruto finally gets to bear witness to Neji's strength. And what Naruto would see would honestly leave a terrible taste in his mouth, as Naruto doesn't quite understand what Tenten sees in Neji. He's a brute. Why would he take it this far when it comes to fighting a girl who clearly was a whole lot weaker than him? Naruto would have a sour taste in his mouth, and Naruto would have one thing on his mind. He needs to humble Neji and put him in his place if nobody else will. So Naruto would begin his training for the 1-month training period, and I'm pretty sure what you guys are thinking at this moment is, oh, Naruto's starting to train? Cool, that means that he's going to be meeting Jiraiya soon, right? But actually, not quite. That's not exactly what ends up happening. What ends up happening instead would be something completely different, because Naruto, after this like preliminary battle would take place, he would end up making his way towards Tenzo's to actually pick up his 2 brand new blades, which are actually made from the smelted iron of Zabuza's blade, right? Like the gigantic sword that Suigetsu has, you know what I mean? And Naruto would spend this entire month training with it, going absolute ham, practicing a couple of things. Number 1, his 1 sword style, 2 sword style, 3 sword style. And one thing that Naruto would especially work on day and night without fail would be his body. Regardless of where he would be at, Naruto would find some sort of way to train himself. He would use mental training, image training, and eventually Naruto would even work on his chakra training, having to go to the library and actually finding a couple books on that, trying to see if maybe there's any way that he could learn how to channel chakra through his weapons, since that is what Zabuza was doing, and that's the reason that Zabuza was able to actually keep up with Naruto and destroy him the first time around, right? And Naruto wants to gain access to something like that, because without that, he's never going to be able to defeat people who have that ability, right? So Naruto would learn how to actually coat his blades in chakra, not haki, but chakra, which is, basically just as strong, but not exactly the same thing, because obviously hockey works different where he could hit intangible things, and this just kind of makes it stronger, sharper, like more precise or whatever. And not only that, but Naruto would also work on his observation hockey during this 1 month of training period, where he would get pretty decent at it, being a novice at it, but being able to use observation hockey to a certain extent where he's able to sort of predict his opponent's movements way easier than he would be originally. And during this 1 month of training, Naruto would spend a pretty hefty amount of time with Tenten and also Tenzo training in the dojo, and just honestly actually manning the shop himself with Tenzo, seeing as he's eternally grateful to that family, considering that they are the ones that put Naruto on this path of life that he's now on, right? And what would pretty much end up happening is after the 1 month of training would be over and Naruto doesn't train with Jiraiya this time around, mind you, we would end up pretty much getting the 1v1 battle between Neji and Naruto, which this time around, this is one of those battles that's interesting to cover because Neji is a close hand fighter, you know what I mean? And he fights with his hands. Naruto is a close range fighter as well, but he kind of fights with a sword. I sort of imagine that as much as Neji could parry and counter and like use his hands to deflect Naruto's blades, there's gonna come a point where Naruto's just gonna overwhelm him. And it's like, I don't know. I know that like it doesn't exactly work how I'm thinking, but I would never use my hand to try to parry a blade. Like, I'm not Goku, I'm not going to be trying to use one finger and stopping a blade, So I think that the battle would start with something along the lines of Naruto using like blade swings and like just shooting like air, like sharp air swings at the direction of Neji, which obviously I definitely think that Neji would be able to keep up with and dodge and parry and stuff like that. And eventually Naruto would get up close trying to face off against Neji in a close range combat, where Naruto, using all three of his blades, would begin slashing and dashing at Neji, who would try to keep up against Naruto and like try to use his 8 trigram like 64, or not 64, but like the shield thing where he like spins around and it's like the ultimate Hyuga defense, quote unquote. And eventually I just don't think that Neji could keep that up forever, So I think eventually once this battle turns into a battle of attrition, Naruto would be able to easily overpower Neji, because even though Neji would land a couple blows on Naruto, I'm not saying he wouldn't, those blows wouldn't make up for the amount of blows that Naruto lands, because while Neji's hitting some pressure points, Naruto has some insane durability. Neji doesn't. Neji was pretty much taken out by one singular punch. So I don't think Neji would be able to tank that many sword attacks from Naruto. And ultimately, I could definitely see Naruto winning this battle, with ultimately then the rest of the battles taking place and eventually Sasuke and Gaara taking place, right? Just like in canon, Sasuke would end up stabbing a Chidori into Gaara's body, and Gaara would leave the village freaking out about this, as Naruto actually would end up following Sasuke, and in this moment we would get the iconic battle between Orochimaru and Hiruzen, which would end in Hiruzen's death just like it does in canon. Might Guy and Kakashi Sensei would protect the village, and while this is all happening, Naruto would begin chasing after Sasuke, thinking to himself that he needs to be there to back him up, because there's no way Sasuke is going to be able to take out this monster. He's completely unhinged. Even Naruto can admit that Gaara is just on a completely different level. Neji is just different to Gaara. Gaara is a tier, or if anything, a couple more tiers ahead of, Neji. And in this moment, Naruto would end up appearing in front of Temari, who would look to him and would end up telling him that, he's not going past her. But Naruto in this moment would just take one blade out before saying that she doesn't understand how wrong she is. Immediately, Temari would swing her fan at the direction of Naruto, who with one blade would slash at it. But eventually, we would get, who's the ninja that comes in and ends up helping Naruto with this section, or ends up actually fighting Naruto in the original? I'm not sure, but whoever that ninja is would come in, step up to the plate, face off against Temari, and eventually Naruto, through running a little bit further, would end up running into Kankuro, who would stop him, but eventually Shino would end up actually coming in and saying, "I got this, Naruto." And after all this ends up happening, we would eventually get Naruto appearing right as Sasuke was actually about to get killed by Gaara, but Naruto comes flying in using three-sword style, Oni Kiri, as he cuts Gaara in 3 pieces, and Gaara's like the sand would just begin to like fall like a sandcastle that just got kicked, as Gaara would turn towards the direction of Naruto looking enraged, as Naruto would turn towards the direction of Gaara and say that this battle isn't going to be an easy one. Sasuke needs to help him. He would tell Sasuke to keep everything long range, keeping up with fire style jutsus for any time that Gaara is able to get up close to him, and Naruto would just be trying to use his blades to actually try to take out Gaara. What I could definitely see happening is Naruto would slash with one sword style at the direction of Gaara, but Gaara would end up grabbing the blade like with his sand and like sucking it into it, right? With Naruto not being able to pull it out, and eventually Naruto just has to rely on his two sword style. So he would grab both of his blades and tell Sasuke that in this moment, like, he needs to make a push. And that's exactly what would happen. Naruto would push himself beyond his normal limits, and even though like Naruto's practically not able to do anything to Gaara because of the nature of his body, the nature of the sand and everything, Naruto would begin getting sick and tired of this. Sasuke would be shooting like the fire style jutsus backing Naruto, and it would be sort of a stalemate clash where eventually Gaara would turn into his tailed beast Shukaku, as Gaara would just be looking way larger than life in Naruto's eyes in this moment, and Naruto would wonder to himself how in the world he's going to be defeating this foe. Like, yes, before he's faced difficult opponents, but this one, it has to be his most difficult one yet, because how does he cut something if it doesn't hurt him? It's sand, right? So Naruto would just begin to prepare himself, trying to cut him any way possible, shape, and form, but nothing is working. And it's in this moment that Gaara, looking larger than life ever, looking bigger than any other opponent Naruto's ever faced before, Naruto realizes he has to break his limits. He has to figure out how to cut sand and damage it somehow. So Naruto in this moment would begin getting like sand, like bullets shot at him, Naruto cutting them mid-air so that they can't damage him. And eventually Naruto just gets to a point where he has to get on top of a gigantic tree, climbing up it using his tree walking abilities, which he would have learned. And with that, Naruto would be at like the pinnacle of it, just standing on it, right? As suddenly Naruto would kind of like, with his body weight, like bend the tree slightly, as using the tree he would kind of like slingshot himself towards Gaara, as in this moment Naruto would use a two sword style swing, as it would create sort of an X shape, and in this moment Naruto would come flying in at high speeds at Gaara, just thinking to himself, cut it, cut it, cut it, I can cut it, like do it, do it, do it. And in this moment, armament haki would coat the blades for just a split second, as Naruto would cut the sand, and the Shukaku that was like taking over would have felt the pain. It would have been so clear as day. You know what I mean? And Naruto not only would cut Shukaku, but he would cut through him so deep that he would get to the top of Shukaku and actually end up slicing Gaara himself, leaving an X-shaped scar on his chest, right? Which eventually Gaara would land on the floor, and he would just look at Naruto just wondering how he did it, with Naruto saying that he just trained hard. And eventually Sasuke gets like right next to him, just like mouth agape, like just jealous, like Naruto was able to defeat somebody that I couldn't even dream of defeating. Like, what's happening? I'm supposed to be the number one like prospect in the classroom. This kid was just some guy with a sword, and all of a sudden he's getting so much stronger than me. Like, Sasuke's insecurities are getting to him in this moment. And what would pretty much end up taking place after this is we sort of get into the territory which is the cleanup, right? Now, in the original, Naruto was sad of Hiruzen's death, but nothing that really impacted the story too greatly. So I'm going to be saying that that happens once more, where like nothing really changes that much. You know what I mean? And because of this, I think that during this time, now we can't exactly avoid what happens, which is Jiraiya meeting Naruto, because eventually Jiraiya is going to be trying to go over there and meet Naruto. So now that, like, you know, there's nothing in the way, Naruto's not training on his own, Jiraiya would finally take the opportunity to actually get to know and meet Naruto, and would actually end up inviting Naruto on a journey with him to actually find the fifth Hokage. Naruto saying it's a mission and he's never going to deny the chance to train with someone strong. So he would end up going with Jiraiya, and during this training, we would kind of get Naruto trying to be taught the Rasengan, but Naruto doesn't care. Like, I don't know how else to put it. He straight up just doesn't care. He just asks Jiraiya if he knows anything that could help him when it comes to like swordsmanship or anything along those lines. And Jiraiya would be like, not really, but I can help you with your chakra control, and maybe I can help you work on your tailed beast. With Naruto finally being exposed that he is the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki, that he does have that power, and that's exactly what took over him in the Forest of Death when he was facing off against Orochimaru. So that's what pretty much Naruto would learn for the time being, and eventually we would find ourselves in the situation in which Naruto would find himself in the hotel, just kind of like sleeping, when suddenly the door would begin getting knocked, and Naruto would say, "Go away, I'm busy." As from here, the door would be like cut, like, and I wasn't thinking about it in this moment, but I just had a thought. Kisame is a swordsman. Like, oh yeah. I like this part. I like this part. Like right now, I was honestly bored. I was like, dang, like this part's about to be this part's about to like not be entertaining at all for me to like think about or even like make up. But this is gonna be so cool. All right. Naruto, he just like looks up, like he's on his bed, mind you. Just imagine you're on your bed chilling. Someone knocks on your door, right? You're at like a hotel, and you're like, get out of here, like go away, And then the door just gets sliced in half. Like you look up and then you see Itachi and Kisame at the doorway, with Itachi's Sharingan just staring daggers into your soul, and Kisame's bloodlusted eyes staring back at you. Naruto in this moment would look at both of them, and some fear would begin coursing through his body. He would feel his body begin to shake visibly, and a bit of sweat would begin coming down, as Naruto knows exactly who Kisame is, and Kisame is actually one of Naruto's highest goals. So in this moment, Naruto turning towards Kisame would tell him that he's been looking for him, or he's been like not looking for him, but he's been waiting to meet him. And Kisame would say something along the lines of, "Pleased to make your acquaintance." As from here, Naruto says, "I can't wait. I'm gonna be able to defeat not only Zabuza Momoichi, but now Kisame Hoshigaki." As in this moment, Kisame would get a little angry after hearing how cocky Naruto is, and he would rush in towards the direction of Naruto, swinging his blade, with Naruto taking two blades out and countering Kisame's swing, using all his strength, coating the blades themselves in chakra, and not only that, but actually using armament haki for a split second. And even with all that, Kisame would literally send Naruto flying out through the building. In this moment, Naruto would look back up only to see Kisame looking at him down, as he's kind of just staring at him in this way of like saying, "I'm above you, like you're trash to me," like Kisame, even though he is one of the legendary swordsmen and obviously he has Samehada and all that stuff, I don't know if I would really consider him that much of a swordsman. He just so happens to be that much stronger than Naruto. When it comes to swordsmanship, I think they're obviously probably about equal when it comes to their swordsmanship skills, but when it comes to like their strength, Kisame just absolutely overwhelms Naruto in that department. And because of this, Naruto just wouldn't stand a chance. This battle would mainly just be Naruto trying to hold Kisame off as much as possible. So with every sword clash, Naruto would be on the receiving end of a very not so fun Samehada shark skin fish that would just like tear his skin and ultimately leave Naruto with tons of slashes and gashes, right? Which, it doesn't really feel that fun, but it is what it is. Regardless though, we would eventually get to a point where this battle would create so much commotion that obviously Jiraiya would end up arriving, and Itachi himself would even end up telling Kisame to hurry things up, with Kisame saying that he's having fun. It's been a while since he's had a fight with another swordsman. As from here, Naruto would continue trying his absolute best, using his observation haki to try to keep up with Kisame as much as he can, but obviously it still wouldn't be enough. All that Naruto has right now are just more so just small glimpses of what's to come. It's just kind of like a sample size of what Naruto will become, more or less, after the time skip, obviously. But with all this happening, eventually Jiraiya would make his way there, and once he would end up actually arriving, this is when the battle tide would begin to change slightly, because now Jiraiya would actually end up backing Naruto, and Naruto, with the help of Jiraiya, would begin to actually push Kisame back, shocking the swordsman, and also causing Itachi to ultimately say that they should retreat, that it's not worth getting into a fight with one of the legendary Sannin, that there is going to be casualties in this battle if they would fight right now. Kisame would just be like, "Wait, why?" But ultimately, he would end up following what Itachi says, and they would leave, leading Naruto to just kind of sit back and kind of fall to one knee as he's holding himself up with one blade, like kind of shaking because of the anger that he's feeling right now, knowing that had that battle not been interrupted by Jiraiya, he would have lost, ergo breaking his promise that he would have made to himself twice already. Once with Orochimaru, and now with Kisame? Useless, useless, Naruto would say as he punches the ground and thinks of himself. But in this moment, Jiraiya would say that he shouldn't say that. He's 12, or no, he's 13 years old. And he doesn't know too many people that would be able to stand up to Akatsuki members like that. If anything, Naruto's a powerhouse as he is as of now. And in this moment, Naruto just looks up at Jiraiya saying that he's not no powerhouse. He's a weakling. In this moment, Jiraiya would just kind of look at him saddened, but ultimately they would continue their mission. And it would be in this moment that Sasuke would actually end up arriving, but because they weren't in the hotel room, like they were actually like a little further from there. Sasuke arrives like literally just a couple seconds before Itachi and Kisame leave, right? And he just looks at Itachi, who's running away, as he would scream, "Itachi!" And Itachi would just sort of look at the direction of Sasuke, just kind of like smiling under his breath, knowing that, you know, he didn't have to do anything for now, and he would run away with Sasuke being angry, thinking of the fact that his brother just got away again, and he wasn't able to get his vengeance. And not only that, but Naruto would also be beating himself up as well. So in this moment, Jiraiya would just turn towards Sasuke and ask him if he wants to come along for the rest of the mission, with Sasuke saying he's already here. And eventually Naruto and Sasuke would end up making their way with or towards the mission in order to essentially wait, no, I literally just confused myself so hard right there. Oh yeah, go looking for Tsunade, the fifth Hokage, right? With this all happening, we pretty much just get Naruto, Sasuke, and Jiraiya making their way over there, with Sasuke actually getting a bit of training from Jiraiya himself, and Sasuke actually taking the advice of the Rasengan. Like, Sasuke's like, oh, well, you know, like the Rasengan actually looks kind of cool, you know what I mean? Since he already knows it's Chidori, it'd be kind of easy for him to actually learn the Rasengan, and once he does so, he has it down pretty down pat, if I do say so myself. Regardless though, eventually after this happens, they would eventually end up arriving to Tsunade's bar, where once they get there, they would end up having a talk with Tsunade, and eventually she would end up disrespecting the Hokages. Unlike in canon, this Naruto doesn't exactly care about what Tsunade is saying, because Naruto really doesn't respect her. She's a woman who wasted her youth getting drunk for no reason at all, and Naruto just honestly can't respect that, not at all. So Naruto doesn't care about Tsunade, and he doesn't even act like he does. He completely brushes her off, doesn't care about her, and makes that very, very clear. So eventually, after conversating with Jiraiya for a bit, she would look at the eyes of Naruto and notice that he doesn't care for her, he doesn't think she's impressive, and if anything, he's giving her a condescending look, which would enrage Tsunade, who would slam her fist on the table and tell Naruto if he has something to say. But Naruto would say he honestly doesn't care about her or understands why she should be nominated for Hokage, as he would just take a sip of his water with ice in it, and, you know, Tsunade straight literally like dumps her sake on Naruto, saying, "Let's take this outside," as Naruto just looks at her and grabbing onto one of his blades would put it to her throat, before then saying, "Do that again and you won't wake up with your head on your body tomorrow," as Tsunade would smirk in his face, and from here would say, "How about this? Let's take it outside." I'm a woman who likes to make wagers, and from here Naruto would ask her what kind of wager she wants to make. Before then, Tsunade goes on to set herself up for failure and say that if Naruto can land even one strike on her, she'll return to the village. In this moment, Naruto would look at her, smile, and say she has a deal, as from here, Naruto would end up making his way outside, and he would literally grab his jacket that he always wears, tossing it to the ground, and then grabbing his headband, he would put his hair back. As from here, Naruto would look at her, put his blade in his mouth, grab the other two blades, and get ready for his three-sou style. Sentoryu, I think that's what it's called, right? But yeah, then Naruto would just look at Tsunade and tell her if she's sure about this. And Tsunade would laugh, saying that there's no way some dumb kid just asked her if she's sure about this, going on a spit on the ground and say, "Come on." As from here, immediately, Naruto rushes in at her and she would punch at the ground, expecting Naruto to have been caught off guard by this. But Naruto's observation haki was able to predict this happening, and so he would jump up in the air gracefully, as in this moment, Tsunade would be like, seriously? Like, you're coming at me with an aerial attack. Like, you're so predictable, kid. But in this moment, Tsunade getting ready to lift her arm up and just punch Naruto back and like just destroy him. Naruto begins spinning mid-air, and Tsunade is like, I can't punch him. Like, because of this, Naruto's sort of like spinning in a vortex where if she punches him, the blade will like hit her hand, and she knows that, and she'll lose. So instead, Tsunade is kind of forced to jump back and like pick up a piece of like gigantic stone on the ground and throw it at Naruto, just like Gon does in the Hunter x Hunter like little like battle that he has against, is it Hisoka, I think? But no, yeah, she does something like that. But Naruto cuts that piece of stone in half, and Tsunade would be completely stunned at the fact. Immediately, Naruto would rush back in towards the direction of Tsunade, as from here, using his maximum speed output, would blitz at Tsunade, as he would then go on to slash at her, and Tsunade would actually get caught off guard, as a piece of her garment would actually get sliced off, and Tsunade, in this moment, she'd be in a position where she can't block, she can't substitute, she can't do anything, so Naruto straight slices off her left like forearm, like he literally slices it off, like the forearm. He disconnects her arm from her hand from her arm, right? And Tsunade, seeing the blood, would just be terrified, as she would sort of begin losing her cool. And what's the name of her assistant, like Chiho? No, not Chiho, but dude, I literally don't even know what the name of her assistant is, but she comes in and like patches up Tsunade, who would literally just fall unconscious due to the like how scared she is of blood. And Naruto would say, some Sanin, she's scared of a little blood, as Naruto would show all his wounds that he had, shocking Sasuke, who'd be like, wait, you were fighting like that? And Naruto would say, of course I was. I'm not going to make excuses just because I'm injured. As from here, he would walk off and just make his way towards the room where he passes out. And eventually, the next day, he would wake up only to find out that they're going to be doing an ambush on Orochimaru. On this particular day, what would end up going down is Tsunade would do the ambush, right, just in canon. Kabuto finds her out and exposes her. And eventually, with Orochimaru realizing that Sasuke is in fact right there, Orochimaru would try to like be like, Sasuke, like, come with me and I'll show you greater power. But Sasuke actually, in this moment, getting to see how Orochimaru is like facing off against not only Jiraiya, but Tsunade in this moment, would realize that Orochimaru is so much stronger than he's letting off. But ultimately, even with all that, knowing that, like he didn't have that push from his brother, like he does in the original, like truly hate and like really pursue power by all means necessary, Sasuke is just not in that mental state of like doing that quite yet. So he doesn't end up going, and so he would actually just end up helping Naruto with defeating Kabuto, which would be a very swift victory, considering Naruto would really just need Sasuke to land like pretty much the final blow, considering he knows that Sasuke is one of those people that has a soft ego and it could be crushed easily, and he doesn't want to outshow Sasuke too much, you know what I mean? So yeah, Sasuke wins, and eventually they return to the village. Once they do return to the village, Tsunade would be made the 5th Hokage of Konoha, and eventually Sasuke would still be tempted by the Sound Four and eventually kidnapped by them and given the curse mark forcefully, right? Or not given the curse mark forcefully, but just like kind of kidnapped and shown like, hey, we can upgrade your curse mark, which Sasuke would ultimately end up having to accept without a choice. But yeah, with that happening, we would still get the Sasuke retrieval mission that we do in canon. However, this time around, Sasuke wasn't taken voluntarily. But unfortunately, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and say that once Sasuke feels the power, he's not going to want to go after feeling that. You know what I mean? So Sasuke unfortunately does, once he wakes up and like obviously fights Naruto, which is a couple minutes forward. Not really. I mean, do you guys really want to hear about Choji versus the Sound Four? I really don't think you guys do. Honestly, yeah, I don't think so. The team would be assembled just like it is in canon. Nothing changes. And this time around, Naruto, when they're actually trapped inside of the dome, like Naruto isn't standing there just like looking around like, oh no, like we have no chakra. Like, bro, he grabs his blades and just cuts that stone in half, right? And in this moment, the Sound Four would be stunned, like, yo, what? Like, these kids broke out? Like, it hasn't even been that long, you know what I mean? So Jirobo and 3 more of them would actually stay there and fight against these genin, but all of them together would band together and would defeat them, just like they do in the original. However, obviously this time around the battles are happening like literally side by side by side, and Naruto would go off to chase after Sasuke and trying to take him back to the village, you know what I mean? And with all this happening, we would pretty much end up get a scene where eventually, who am I gonna say is the one responsible for who should I say is the one responsible for ultimately carrying Sasuke and like taking him a little bit further? I think I want to do the the flute girl. Yeah, the flute. Yeah, why not? Let's do the flute girl, right? Like she does that, and she tries to use her, like like sound, like ocular, not ocular. That's eyes. Vis, shoo. What sound genjutsu? Yeah, sound genjutsu. Dude, my mind betrayed me. But no, yeah. She uses sound genjutsu, and with this, Naruto would be like, "Are you serious? Like that was your big idea?" As bro literally just like bends down on his knees, grabs some like little like thing on the floor, plugging in his ears. I don't know if this is actually how it would work, but like I'd assume so. If you can't hear it, it can't affect you. Like that's why not Hashirama, but Tobirama's Bringer of Darkness jutsu is so effective against the Uchiha. You know what I mean? But yeah, blocking his ears, Naruto would cut her down, and eventually Sasuke would wake up before then running away from Naruto. And Naruto's like, "Yo, Sasuke, like return to the village. What are you doing? Like I'm here to save you." And Sasuke would like literally not say a word to Naruto until eventually Kimimaro would end up appearing and pretty much holding Naruto off just a bit until obviously Rock Lee would arrive. And it's not like Naruto wasn't able to hold his own against him. Actually, the battle was going quite well. Naruto just did feel bad because of the fact that he's fighting his opponent at like basically like 20 to 30% of his real power, or like let's say 50 or 40% of his real power, right? So Naruto does feel bad, but ultimately knowing that Lee could probably handle it, he would end up rushing over towards the direction of where Sasuke's at, and once there, Naruto would scream, "Sasuke!" as Sasuke would stop, turning back towards Naruto and asking him what he wants, as Naruto would tell him that he needs to return to the village. Like, what is he doing? He's not here to play any games with him. Like, let's go. But Sasuke would look at Naruto and say, "Go? Go where? I want to go with Orochimaru. Don't you get it, Naruto? That's the only way I'm going to get stronger. That's the only way I'm going to avenge my clan. You wouldn't understand. You have nothing to avenge. You have no goals, no ambitions. You're nothing, Naruto." And from here, Naruto would look to Sasuke, turning his head to the side before just like being like, "Sasuke, are you dumb? Like, that Orochimaru guy, yes, he's strong, but why are you assuming that just because he's stronger than the other Sannin, he'll be a better mentor? Yes, he can give you access to things like the curse mark, but come on now, Sasuke. Like, don't you understand? You're practically selling your soul right now." And Sasuke would say, "For power, I don't care." But Naruto just looks at him disappointed and says, "I guess I'll have to cut you down." As from here, Naruto grabbing his headband would tie it around his head before then looking towards Sasuke and saying that this isn't personal. And from here, Naruto would get dead serious, saying that if he wants to abandon the village, he will, but he's gonna come back in pieces. As ooh, that was tough. As Sasuke would look at him and say, "Try it, Naruto." And immediately Sasuke would like jump off the cliff, shooting 3 fire style jutsus at the top where Naruto would be looking down. But Naruto would jump off the cliff itself, as coming down with those like 2 blades, with 2 blades in his hands, would come down and slash at those fireballs, creating gusts of wind powerful enough to blow the fire away, where ultimately Naruto would rush in and like begin fighting against Sasuke. But what Sasuke didn't take account for is this Naruto isn't the canon Naruto we're used to. It's like, it's just unpredictable. Like, no, Naruto's calculated. He's precise in his movements. He knows what he's doing. He's a lot stronger than the one that we get in the original. And I'm not even like overhyping it or anything, but he truly is so much stronger than the one that we get in the original that it's not even funny. Like, seriously. And so what would pretty much end up going down is Naruto was able to keep up with Sasuke, forcing him to even tap into his Sharingan, and they'd be fighting dead even. Sasuke having to use his kunai, like just to even like try to hold off Naruto's like attacks, but Naruto's like landing slashes on Sasuke, and you could tell like Naruto's not actually going for the kill. He's more or less just trying to wear Sasuke down, not exactly trying to cut off any part of Sasuke's limbs or anything like that. So Sasuke's just in a position where he's losing very badly. His Sharingan's having to evolve more and more as the fight would go on, and eventually Sasuke would even end up tapping into his full Curse Mark II power, where Naruto finally would actually begin having a massive challenge in front of him. Like they're dead equal because of this. So Sasuke rushing in, like he'd begin to actually deal heavy damage on Naruto, nicking him, getting like full on like real damage. But ultimately, Naruto would like begin drawing from the power of the Nine Tails, and once we get to this point, it would begin being back in Naruto's side of the battle. Like the favor is on his side, you know what I mean? And it kind of just flip-flopped. Like it started Naruto, went Sasuke a little bit, back to Naruto. Obviously Naruto's getting tired as the battle's going on, and Sasuke is too, but in this moment I'm gonna be saying that Sasuke has a little bit more stamina, and he's able to like get a little bit of an upper hand on Naruto, considering he's not using one tail, he's just using like the like I don't know, like the particles of Kurama's QB power, right? And eventually it would get to the point where Naruto tells Sasuke like, that's it, like you're coming back to the village one way or another, Sasuke. And Sasuke would just like look at him and be like, no, I'm not. I'll kill you, Naruto. Charging up a Chidori on one side of the cliff as like he would run on the water, and Naruto would do so as well. Naruto charging up his blades and just getting ready to absolutely curb stomp Sasuke, would rush in at him using a three-sword style slash as he would leave Sasuke with a big slash on his chest, stomach, and everything, just completely slashing Sasuke, as Naruto would have completely went by and like decimated Sasuke's Chidori and proved this point of like, dude, I am way stronger than you. Stop playing these games. I'm dragging you to the village by force. And that's exactly what would happen. Like, no games. Sasuke is just seriously, it's bad. Okay, it's bad. And yeah. No, after this, Sasuke ends up actually returning to the village, and as he should have in the original, considering that Naruto's attack, you know what I mean, like last attack should have for sure beaten Sasuke. Like I'm pretty sure that there's like a specific reason that Naruto didn't. Like he wasn't going for the kill or something like that. I don't know. Or wait, was he going for his headband or something? I think that's the reason, but I don't know. Regardless, though, what would pretty much end up happening is that Naruto would end up dragging Sasuke back to the village, and the rest of his teammates would be in the medical ninjutsu like area where they'd like be treated for their injuries and such. And eventually after this, about give or take 2 weeks would pass, where Sasuke would finally find himself waking up and just like wondering like, what happened, with him finding out Naruto obliterated him, and Naruto sitting like right next to his bedside with all three of his swords right next to him, and Sasuke like flicking like, I don't know, like I'd imagine that Sasuke has like a fruit basket next to him, so I could just see Sasuke grabbing a fruit, tossing it at Naruto's head and saying, wake up, sea moss. Funny. I could definitely see Sasuke calling him that, and Naruto looking at him and saying finally he's awake. He was beginning to think he might have killed him. As from here, Sasuke would say, you wish, saying that he's sorry for what happened back there, like getting serious for a moment. As Naruto would say, it's fine. Honestly, he probably, if he experienced power like that, he might have potentially in another lifetime have had the same reaction as Sasuke. Sasuke in this moment would give him a scowl, knowing that Naruto's like poking fun at him, saying like he would never do it, but just trying to give Sasuke a feeling of like, hey, you know, not that bad. You know what I mean? And yeah. After this, we would kind of get a little bit of a boring situation where the main thing that really goes on to happen here is we get something very reminiscent to that of the 2-year time skip that we get in One Piece, except add 1 more year to that. And obviously in One Piece, Zoro gets as strong as he does, not necessarily because of the fact that he has 2 years to train, as much of the fact that he was training with Mihawk, the greatest swordsman in the world. And so because of this, what would end up pretty much happening is Naruto would get massive gains from this. However, when it comes to his swordsmanship abilities and like armament hockey and observation hockey, he's not going to get as good as Zoro is. Remember in the beginning that I said, like, I'm not sure if Zoro's or not Zoro, but Naruto's going to be getting Conqueror's Haki. It's just because, like, while Conqueror's Haki is one of those things that I'm not sure if in the series is like mainly trained as much as it's just like unlocked slowly with like how much stronger they get, or I don't know, just that whole like aspect is just a little confusing to me. Maybe somebody break it down in the comments, but I think that what I'm mainly going to be having happen during this time skip is because Naruto already knows like what he's focusing on, and he doesn't really care about any other outside factors other than I want to become the greatest swordsman. I'm going to focus on swordsman. I don't care about ninjutsu. I don't care about taijutsu. I just care about kenjutsu. Because of this, during this time skip, Naruto would actually go on a training journey with Jiraiya. However, unlike what you guys are actually thinking, this training, this training time that he would take wouldn't actually all be spent like leaving the village and like not being there. It would actually be spent only 1 year traveling the land so Naruto could get accustomed to maybe some more sword style like uses, like maybe getting like a couple more swords in his arsenal that he has just to be able to put in his room. And during this year, he would definitely learn Sage Mode. Why? Because Jiraiya doesn't have to clean up the basics of Naruto. Naruto's already very cleaned up in his act. Naruto's drip does change. I don't. I had two arts made for this video, guys. I need to confess something. The first art ended up looking good, but it just doesn't feel like a thumbnail, like thumbnail art. It feels more like, I don't know, like deviant art material, as not as much like something that somebody would see on their YouTube feed and click on. I don't know. You guys tell me, what thumbnail do you guys like better? This one or this one? Actually, I'm probably not even gonna put it up on screen. Don't even bother looking, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not about to set y'all up for getting baited. But yeah, no. What pretty much ends up happening during this is that Naruto would train Sage Mode, obviously mastering it because he's that guy. And with that, that would pretty much be it when it comes to the 1 year training with Jiraiya. He just, travels around, learns a little bit more swordsmanship, masters Sage Mode, and also gets a little bit better at coating his swords with chakra, definitely working on his observation hockey and armament hockey during this time. So Naruto would get to a point where he's able to coat his blade and also body with armament hockey very easily by the end of this 1 year. Not perfect, but very easily, like around that Luffy level post time skip, but not like Luffy level like once he trains with it like seriously, you know what I mean? But yeah, like he has very, very good armament hockey. And eventually once he returns to the village, Naruto obviously now would be 14 years old. And the first thing that Naruto would do is make his way towards Tenzo's shop, where he would just tell him and Tenten like all the things that happen. And right now you guys might be thinking like, yo, like you forgot about Tenten and Tenzo this whole time, but I didn't. It's just like after Naruto returned from like the little training thing that he did with Jiraiya, or not training, but the little Tsunade mission and like recovering Sasuke, there really wasn't anything for Naruto to like tell them in terms of like mission wise. But now Naruto's able to return to Tenzo and like tell him of all the great things that he would have learned during the 1 year. Tell him how he's actually been getting so much better at his observation hockey, his armament hockey, an ability that seems to be actually only for Naruto. So with all this happening, they would have like a great big talk. They'd have like a nice dinner. Naruto would even talk to Tenten. Honestly, I do imagine that there probably would be like a scene where they're like on a swing set and they're just like chilling, you know what I mean? Like they're talking about everything, and Tenten would just like look at Naruto and just be like, I'm proud of what you've become. And Naruto just looking at Tenten and saying, honestly, I am too. And I'm pretty proud of you too. It's almost funny. We grew up like siblings ever since I came to your shop, and I don't regret a single decision that I've made from the moment that I entered this building. As Tenten would just look at him and give him like a punch on the side of his arm as Naruto looks at her and like smiles, right? Like just like a very wholesome scene, just like them both reminiscing on everything. I just definitely need that scene to be thrown in there. But after this, I could definitely see Naruto just continuing his training by himself, definitely taking advantage of the multi-shadow clones to enhance his training when it comes to his swordsman skills. So actually, even though I said he wasn't going to reach the same level, he is, because he has access to like 100 times the training that Zoro does, and an extra year, and Sage Mode, and Chakra. So yeah, Naruto would definitely be way stronger than the Zoro that we get in the One Piece story. In fact, yeah, he's already one of the strongest characters in the verse by the end of this time skip. Like, remember, once Zoro went to the Hody Jones arc, like, dude was basically almost able to beat him underwater. And like, I don't even think Zoro was going all out. Definitely, I'm not sure if Zoro would have been able to defeat Doflamingo just like Luffy did, but I think he would have definitely given him a run for his money. You know what I mean? And after more training and more power ups and more all this other stuff that happens in Wano, like, Zoro turns into a monster, obviously, which we all know, right? And I think Naruto's swordsman skills levels would definitely be there, if not like more. You know what I mean? Obviously, amp with chakra, amp with the fact that he can water walk, tree walk, all this other cool stuff, right? So Naruto would be in a very favorable position, and eventually one day we would get like this hawk flying in from the Sand Village, going on to inform them of a mission that they have. Obviously, during these 2 years, Naruto would have gone on missions with Team 7, and they would have ended up definitely finding out of Tsunade, you know, training Sakura and stuff. And Sakura and Sasuke could definitely end up dating a lot sooner than they do in canon. So their relationship flourishes a lot earlier than it does in the original. But with that said, yeah, the Kazekage mission rolls around, and um, what happens here? Like, what I don't want to do is like rush it and be like, Naruto just wins, like, you know, like going by it fast. Because what I don't want is to just do what I usually do in my stories, but how do I make this interesting? Like, what do I say? Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys won't mind hearing how much of a stomp it'll be. So I'm just gonna do that, okay? So this mission starts off just like it does in canon, obviously, right? Sakura would end up arriving to the Sand Village, and once they get there, they would see Kankuro, who was poisoned by Sasori. So Sakura, using her medical ninjutsu prowess, would actually end up healing him, reversing the poison itself, just being like, I'm not sure why you guys didn't just do this yourself. Like, what she did is actually not hard. She just used common sense. And after she heals Kankuro, we would pretty much end up just getting the team, along with Lady Chiho, like in the original, making their way towards where Sasori and Deidara are at. Just like in canon, however, Sasori and Deidara would have already practically killed Gaara with the extraction of his tailed beast. And the second that the rock would be punched into like little itty bitty pieces by Sakura, Deidara would create a clay bird as he flies out of there instantly, and Sasori would begin to instantly begin getting into a fight with Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi and Naruto would actually chase after Deidara. However, one interesting thing is that Naruto wouldn't play any games. In this moment, Naruto would immediately look towards the direction of Kakashi as he jumps up and tells Kakashi to send him flying over there. As Kakashi would like sort of just like using a wind palm, a gale palm, which obviously Kakashi knows thousands of jutsus. Of course he knows this. He would hit Naruto's foot, sending him flying towards the direction of Deidara, who's just like, what? As Naruto would slice the clay bird in like pieces, causing it to actually explode. But Naruto, using his armament haki, wouldn't feel even a bit of pain due to this. And when they would land on the floor, Naruto would actually just like land on his legs, roll, spin, and land right in front of Deidara, who would have actually hit the ground pretty hard, getting right back up, creating a couple of clay like things that would rush at Naruto. But Naruto would just walk through them, slice them as they would explode, and Deidara would be like, art is an explode. As he realizes, like, Naruto's not getting hurt. Like, what in the world? And eventually Naruto would get over to Deidara as he walks by him and just shling, like we would hear the sound effect of a blade cutting as Deidara head literally flies onto the floor. Like, it just rolls on there like a cantaloupe. If you guys have ever seen Mr. Peabody and Sherman, you know, like a cantaloupe, and like it just falls there, you know. And eventually like Naruto and Kakashi would like make their way back towards the direction of Sakura, Sasuke, and Lady Chiho. And I can definitely see Sasuke being able to defeat Sasori by himself. So with the addition of Lady Chiho, who basically knows all his arsenal, and with the fact that we have Sakura there for anti-poison, it's just a one-sided stomp. Honestly, I'm sorry. I'm not covering it. This is one of those battles that I can't even think of anything interesting to add. The battle in the original itself, as much as it is Sakura, the one that's fighting, was super interesting in and of itself. So just rewatch that or anything, if anything, right? But yeah, no, with that happening, after this, I'm honestly kind of unsure of how the timeline does flow. So give me a second and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Kind of anticlimactic. A lot of things actually end up changing just because Sasuke stays, and that's exactly what I'm going to be getting into. After the death of Deidara and Sasori, in the original timeline, we then get the Tenchi Bridge mission, which doesn't happen. You know, they're not after Sasuke. Kakashi definitely does go on a mission just like he does in canon, but unfortunately this time around we don't actually end up getting the introduction of Sai and or Yamato. And instead, what we pretty much end up getting is kind of just a couple, like not a couple weeks, but like a week and a half ish of them kind of just chilling. They'll probably go on 1 week mission in the middle of that, which like isn't important to cover at all. Naruto would spend some time with Tenzo, Tenten, Sasuke, and Sakura. And Naruto during this time would have actually ended up building quite a cool relationship with Sasuke, just due to the fact that they both stayed in the village, they trained together, and Sasuke's also a swords, he's a swords like fighter. So Naruto would actually train with Sasuke quite often. And with that, what would pretty much end up going down is that eventually we would get the mission of Asuma actually going off and like trying to defeat one of the Akatsuki members, seeing that the Akatsuki are currently on the move. You know, they're trying to go after Naruto. So with Konoha wanting to do like a little bit of a preemptive strike, they would go after Hidan and Kakuzu. But unfortunately, just like it happens in the original, Asuma ultimately ends up perishing because of this. Shikamaru would fall into a little bit of a deep depression because of this, with Naruto not exactly being there for him like he is in the original, more or less kind of just like going along with the mission in order to actually defeat Kakuzu just like he does in canon. However, this time around, of course, Naruto doesn't do it with a Rasen Shuriken. Instead, what Naruto does is he doesn't even tap into his Sage Mode or anything. Naruto just waltzes to the battlefield a bit late as Kakashi's facing off against Kakuzu and actually losing low-key, or barely being able to keep up, more specific, right? And once Naruto would end up arriving, Naruto would like kind of let go of like his cloak, as he's looking like Zoro and Wano in this moment, right? And he just aims his blade towards Kakuzu and asks him how many swords he wants to die to. As Kakuzu would like just laugh in Naruto's face, Naruto would speed blitz in front of him, hit him with the back, like the blunt part of his blade, and Kakuzu would get sent flying back, as Naruto then just simply looks up at him and says, "How many swords do you want to die to?" Kakuzu's eyes would widen as he knows like he's literally going to die. It's almost like he can see the aura of Kurama and just this like ethereal, like Susanoo looking just being coating it with armor, right? As yeah, like it's not funny. And by the way, I'm definitely not going to be calling it King of Hell, because you know, hell, you know, not a very good place. You know, I don't know if you guys understand what that place is, but yeah, not very good. But anyways, yeah. Yeah, well pretty much ends up yeah. Dude, how many times am I going to say yeah? Hey, let me know in the comments how many times I've said that. But no, for real. What pretty much ends up happening is after this, Naruto would just take one blade out, rushing towards the direction of Kisame, and using the same attack, which is the lion, like, I don't know, bro, just a random attack, right? He would just slash like Kisame's, or not Kakuzu, but he would slash at Kakuzu, like killing the singular heart that he has inside of him as of this moment. Or I think there was 2 hearts inside of him in that moment, but no, yeah, he's able to cut both of those by just slashing once and slashing again. So Kakuzu would completely die and there would be nothing left. Kakuzu was 100% dead. The hearts were killed, and while this is happening, Hidan still would end up dying to Shikamaru, just like he does in canon. So cheers for that. And after this ends up going down, we would pretty much end up getting, what would we end up getting, honestly? Let me think about it. Oh yeah. After this happens, in the original timeline, Sasuke ends up betraying Orochimaru, starting Taka, going off and doing his mission, and eventually going off and fighting against Itachi. Simultaneously, I believe Jiraiya would have also ended up making his way to go on that mission, which unfortunately he died in the canon events of things. But this time around, Naruto having his attachment to Jiraiya and both Sasuke, knowing that Sasuke wants to kill Itachi on his own, and even though, Naruto would like to go with Sasuke, he doesn't, simply based off the fact that Naruto knows that this is his goal. And if Naruto's there to help him, like Sasuke won't be able to push past his limits, break his limits, learn something new. And honestly, that's what Naruto does want for Sasuke. So he would trust Sasuke, knowing that there's a real chance that Sasuke could die on this in this encounter against his older brother Itachi. And ultimately, Naruto would actually make his way towards the Rain Village alongside Jiraiya, where this would change the entire scope of the story. Because keep in mind, this Naruto doesn't care about like, oh, is the village gonna accept me? Are they not? Are they gonna look at me this way or that way? Like, he doesn't care at all. He just kind of wants to get his fight on. He wants to be the greatest swordsman of all time. And even though Naruto would have fought against Kisame had he gone with Sasuke, I kind of want Jiraiya to live. I'm not going to lie. And seeing as Naruto has an attachment to Jiraiya because of the 1 year of training and the many times that they would have talked during the 2 years that Naruto stayed in the village, I think that Naruto just wouldn't be letting Jiraiya go off on his own. And I could definitely see him hearing about Jiraiya leaving the village and like literally catching up to him halfway saying, Jiraiya, what were you thinking? As Jiraiya would tell Naruto this was a solo mission, but he's already here, so he's coming with him. And Naruto and Jiraiya like scouting and like just being like spies, you know what I mean? With Naruto being very, very good at it, pulling a Sanji in this moment, right? Until eventually we would have the encounter of Pain and Konan versus Jiraiya and Naruto. As soon as this would go down, Jiraiya would be like, yo, like Yahiko, like what happened? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Konan, like what's going on? Like what's the big idea, right? And Naruto would like just be looking at Jiraiya, being like, "What's happening?" Like trying to connect the dots, but he'd honestly be so lost, just like Zoro, right? You know what's funny? If this was actually like if Naruto was fully like Zoro, he straight would have probably got lost on the way to trying to get to Jiraiya, and Jiraiya still would have died. But no, yeah, we're not like tending into the joke that much as like obviously not Kishimoto, but Oda drives into that joke in his own story One Piece. But instead Naruto's going to be there fighting against all the paths of pain. And I can definitely see it starting off with Naruto just being like, all right, enough talk. Like, let's get busy. With him, like, putting one blade in his mouth, having the other two and unsheathing them, before then saying, Jiraiya, get ready. And Jiraiya summoning Ma and Pa as, he activates his own Sage Mode, with Naruto saying, that's serious, huh? As he would tap into his own Sage Mode as well instantly, which just always, like, brings a smile to Jiraiya's face, with Pain just being like, they have access to Sage Mode, right? And this time around, in the original, Jiraiya was able to do pretty well, I might say, against the paths, having no information, using imperfected Sage Mode. He's just by himself, nobody's helping him at all like they did with Naruto. So I would say Jiraiya did phenomenal in the original. As much as he lost, he still did great. But this time around, he has Naruto there with him, who's like so many times stronger than him. And if I'm being honest, Naruto probably would have his work cut out for him if like it would be like a way like different thing. Like maybe the battle would be like mid difficulty if Pain was to, I don't know, like be fighting him just like one-on-one, like in a place where no one can help Naruto at all. Like, but unfortunately, he has Jiraiya there with him, who's able to take out two paths of pain, the weaker ones, obviously. Naruto goes over towards the one that was able to like summon the weapons and just like straight cut his arms off before then slicing him straight like hot dog style, like upwards, right? And then like turning towards these paths, like knowing they're not human, having just absolutely no mercy, using armament hockey to obliterate them, and ultimately using his observation hockey to be able to keep up with these paths of pain as they're trying to catch him off guard, but they'd be completely unable to. They'd honestly be thinking that Naruto might even have the same ability they do of like omnidirectional vision, of like sharing eyes, because of just how good Naruto was at predicting their movements, right? But ultimately, after this would happen, Jiraiya and Naruto would defeat the five paths of pain, leaving the Diva path left only, as he would use his ability to just like push them back and like pull them in, like push them back and pull them in. The battle would be annoying at first, but eventually once Naruto figures out the 5-second thing, Naruto, like in a complete speed burst, like I'm done playing around, would just charge up one of his like freaking coolest attacks, just being like onigiri or no, not even like that. Like I gotta say it differently. Onigiri. Ash from here, yeah, that's a lot cooler. But yeah, Onigiri, Ash from here, he would just completely destroy. I mean, it's not even funny, guys. He would completely destroy Pain, right? And after this, Naruto with his Sage Mode would obviously be able to track back to Nagato, with Nagato having a talk with Jiraiya and Naruto, but Naruto's not like on the talk no jutsu kind of guy that he would be in the original. So yeah, what would pretty much end up going down this time around is, Jiraiya would actually get through to Nagato, with Nagato being like, I can't believe I've been such a fool. And just like looking at Jiraiya and saying like, I made a grave error mistake. Like, I need to undo this action. Like, the leader of the Akatsuki is not me, but it's Obito, right? Like, going on to tell them like big details about all this stuff, right? But as this is happening, simultaneously on the other side of the world, or not world literally, but like the other side of the battlefield, or where Sasuke and Itachi would have fought, Itachi would have ended up dying, and Sasuke would end up being taken by Obito. Eventually, then being told the truth, unlocking the Mangekyo Sharingan, and this time around, because the Akatsuki didn't attack the Leaf Village, the Five Kage Summit wasn't called forth. However, with Sasuke having this information about what happened, I could see him actually attacking the village himself, with him like literally waltzing in there, and everybody just being like, yo, like, what's up, Sasuke? And Sasuke just like knocking them out with genjutsu, like super powerful genjutsu at that too. And like Tsunade being like, Sasuke, like, what's the meaning of this? And him even using genjutsu on her, saying like, get out of my way, and like literally pulling up on Danzo and his Rudanbu and just like killing him. You know what I mean? Like, I can definitely see something like that happening, where after Sasuke does this, like his Sharingan are like weakened, and Obito retreats with him, and he tells him like, hey, like, you need to get the EMS, yada, yada, yada. He gets that implanted, and eventually we would get a point in the story where Naruto would sort of return to the village alongside Nagato and Konan. And once they arrive and he finds out of the thing that Sasuke did, once he returned and found out the truth of the Uchiha massacre, Naruto almost can't be mad at Sasuke, but he just thinks to himself, not again. Like, I seriously have to defeat Sasuke again, as it would kind of be in this moment where Obito doesn't have the chance to declare the Fourth Great Shinobi World War. And instead, what would pretty much end up happening is that Naruto would sort of just find himself in a position where he now is sort of tasked with ultimately defeating Sasuke for just the craziness that Sasuke's, like taking a part of right now. Like, Sasuke in no world should be doing the things that he's doing, but unfortunately he is. And like I said, because of this, Naruto would ultimately be the one that's forced to bring Sasuke back without actually knowing the full story and without knowing the things that Danzo did, because not even Lady Tsunade in this moment is actually aware of these things. So even though Sasuke is making Danzo pay for the sins of the past, the Leaf Village shouldn't have to suffer, considering that the Leaf Village that is now in order aren't responsible for the things that happen. Maybe, yeah, the village elders, but other than that, I mean, why make the village itself suffer, and even the world? So in this moment, now Naruto's tasked with having to go find Sasuke, having to bring him back, and not only that, but Naruto's now given a mission to actually also defeat the leader of the Akatsuki, with Jiraiya being able to return to the village. Another good thing that would come out of this would be that Tsunade and Jiraiya would have more than enough time to have their relationship flourish, and ultimately end up actually getting married and having a relationship that would actually bear fruits this time around, meaning they have a kid. And let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, what you guys think a son between Tsunade and Jiraiya would be. Oh, you know what would low-key be kind of a cool what if? What if Naruto was Jiraiya and Tsunade's son? Like, that'd be kind of OP, not gonna lie. Think about it. Like a white hair, like Naruto Uzumaki. I think that'd be pretty sick. But again, that's just me. Regardless though, Naruto isn't a machine. He's not gonna find Sasuke immediately. And not only that, but Naruto doesn't know too much about Sasuke. So ultimately, about a week would pass by where Naruto was just kind of ready for any information that comes to him so that he could actually go find Sasuke. And ultimately, Naruto would sort of go on a bit of a hunt, trying to see if there's any other Akatsuki members that he could fight. But it's kind of hard considering Kakuzu's dead, Hidan's dead, Pain's dead, Konan's dead, Datara's dead, and Sasori's dead. Yeah, Sasori's dead. So it's like basically every member of the Akatsuki's dead. Not only that, but this time around, Sasuke doesn't even have Taka. So eventually, after a little bit of time would pass, I could definitely see Sasuke ending up helping out Obito with his goals, just because Sasuke this time around would be brainwashed a bit by Obito, who would go on and tell him that that village betrayed him, that if he wants, he could live out a perfect life where none of this ever happened. He could grow up with an older brother, with a family, with power, with friends. And Sasuke kind of loses track of himself and honestly wants to live out this new world, this place where everything is just, everything is right. But Sasuke doesn't understand that these circumstances and all these terrible things that have happened is what makes Sasuke Sasuke and what makes his life worth living, right? But ultimately, he's unaware of this. So after they try to basically go and attack Killer B and they try to take him hostage, it wouldn't work. And instead, what would pretty much end up happening is that the Cloud Village would end up inviting the Hokages of the other villages to their village, where they would end up ultimately having a little bit of a smaller, like mini Kage summit, where it's not as like threatening about the Akatsuki, but they definitely talk about the Akatsuki. And here, one beautiful thing that I definitely should mention is Naruto gets to meet Killer B, who just so happens to be one of the coolest swordsmen in all of Naruto, who practices the 8-sword style. You know what I mean? Like, bro has a sword in every crevice and canny that he could find, which is just the funniest thing ever. But yeah, no, during this time, Naruto would definitely meet Killer B, and I could see the interaction just being like, hey, yo, Naruto! And Naruto looking at him just like, yo, like, what's up? With Killer B, like, then saying that, you know, he's a swordsman, right? And Naruto saying he is, and like, ultimately, like, one thing would lead to another, and they would end up on a battlefield where Naruto would look at Killer B and ask if he's sure about this, with Killer B taking out all of his swords and telling Naruto of course he is, as from here he would get into a battle position and Naruto would clash with Killer B in his base form. From here, Naruto would be blatantly surprised when he realizes that Killer B's swordsman skills are second to none other than him. But yeah, Naruto would definitely be able to keep up with Killer B and would actually impress Killer B with his skills, showing Killer B that he's definitely way better at him with swordsmanship. But the last time that Naruto was able to encounter somebody as strong as Killer B has been way too long. So there is that. And obviously there also is the fact that Kisame is not dead, so that's definitely a battle that we're going to be covering in just a little bit. But for now, Naruto's having an awesome interaction, and as much as I really don't want to spend too much time dwelling on this specific thing of the story, I think that ultimately Naruto would make good friends with Killer B, and they would spend time together training, where Killer B would actually talk to Naruto and tell him about how he actually ended up becoming friends and sort of taming his own tailed beast, leading Naruto to actually wanting to do the same thing. And instead of like having an actual relationship with Kurama like you would probably think he would, Naruto would instead just kind of take Kurama's power forcefully without the help of Kushino or even meeting his mom or even ever having that moment where Minato kind of reveals himself to him with a chakra or anything like that. And Naruto doesn't really care. Naruto wasn't focused on what were my parents like, what would my life be like with them. Like, he doesn't care. Naruto's focused on the present, the here, the now. And honestly, it's kind of admirable. But regardless, after this, Naruto now gains access to KCM1, not 2 obviously, because that's when Kurama's, you know, the one that's willing to give Naruto the power. But yeah, Naruto now has KCM1, which he obviously can't combine with Sage Mode, but KCM1. Hear me out, right? But yeah, no. Once this does happen, we would end up actually here and now end up getting an Obito scene where he would end up pretty much crashing this village, right? Because all this would have ended up happening in one day. Like, Naruto trained with Killer B in like one day. I know I said a week earlier, but I'm gonna change that. He trains with them. Okay, so look, they talked about everything. Naruto got bored, so he like went outside. Killer B was there. Naruto saw his swords. They talked for a little bit. Eventually, they found themselves on the battleground. After that, B introduced him to the fact that he knows how to control his tailed beast. Naruto was intrigued by that. So for the following next 15 minutes, Naruto tamed his tailed beast. And now we're in this position where the meeting is almost done, right? The Kages are almost done talking to each other after like an hour and a half. And now Naruto's returning back to the actual area where all the Kages are at, only to see that they're all there, and Obito and Sasuke would actually have ended up appearing in the middle of all of them, with Naruto saying that there's 2-tailed beasts here right now, so why don't they try to take them? As from here, Obito would go on to look at the direction of Naruto and blatantly just say like, wait, I just realized something. The reason that they're all meeting here is because Killer Bee was attacked, and he would have been attacked this time around. I know I didn't mention this, but he would have been attacked this time around by Sasuke with the EMS and a I'm gonna say Sasuke gets the EMS after this attack, because if he has the EMS before this attack, he would have definitely ended up killing B, and the direction of the story that I want to take wouldn't end up happening. I mean, obviously it would make sense, but yeah, retcon whatever I just said. Okay, let's fix the timeline. Sasuke ended up attacking the Leaf Village, right? After that happened, Sasuke was like teleported away by Obito, who tells him that he needs his help with capturing a tailed beast. So Sasuke, along with Kisame, would both be tasked with capturing Killer Bee. Now, Killer Bee ended up tricking them just like he does in the original with a tentacle, or like just pretending to be dead and stuff like that, right? And ultimately with this, he remained in the village, right? And Raikage ended up holding a meeting because of the fact that his brother was attacked, right? Now, after this attack, like Sasuke's vision began to get blurry, and after this, Obito would have ended up giving him the EMS, right? Where now the only remaining members of the Akatsuki are Kisame, Sasuke, and Obito, right? And right here, we find ourselves in a position where Naruto now gets to come face to face with the leader of the Akatsuki, or at least the true leader, Obito Uchiha, aka Madara Uchiha, right? But what would pretty much end up happening here is Naruto turns to Sasuke and asks him why he joined his side. And Sasuke says, to achieve a perfect world, with Naruto saying the perfect world is here, the now. And Sasuke would say he wouldn't understand. He's lived a comfortable life. With Naruto like looking down and thinking back to his past, how he used to get beat, how it was only by luck that he found Tenzo and Tenten, and they changed his life for the better by like a million times, that Naruto was able to find himself even half in the position of where he's at, you know what I mean? And it would be in this moment that Naruto would just look at Sasuke and say he truly is lost, but just like he did last time, he's gonna drag him back to the village. As Sasuke in this moment would create like a Susanoo and would say, I'd like to see you try, slashing down at the direction of Naruto, who with one simple like smirk would jump into KCM immediately, holding one blade out, coating it with chakra and armament hockey, as he like is able to actually counter Sasuke's like attack that he would whip out with a Susanoo sword. Keep in mind, this isn't just a Susanoo, but this is like a perfect Susanoo sword, right? And this sword would come down with Naruto like blocking it, and Obito being stunned, and Kisame, who's actually there with them, being like, hey, no way, this kid got this strong. So while this is happening, I could definitely see Killer Bee and the Raikages in them like rushing over towards the direction of Kisame and like handling him, Naruto fighting Sasuke, and ultimately telling him that he doesn't have time to play around. As unfortunately for Sasuke, Naruto goes on to embarrass him. Like right here in this moment, Naruto was just in a position where he doesn't really understand why Sasuke did what he did. You know, like he doesn't understand the backstory of like how dirty they really did the Uchiha clan. And if he did, he might have more empathy. But since he doesn't, Naruto's just following orders. And if his Hokage tells him to do something, he's gonna do it. Because at the end of the day, Naruto does like Granny Tsunade. And so Naruto rushes in at Sasuke knowing that he doesn't want to kill him, would end up unleashing one of his most powerful attacks, rushing at the ethereal form Susanoo using armament hockey on it, as ultimately he would slash at it and destroy the Susanoo itself, just like Tsunade did with Madara's perfect Susanoo, where she's able to like punch it and like break the ribcage and stuff. He would be able to do that and ultimately get like face to face with Sasuke, where he would just like slash at Sasuke's like chest, causing Sasuke to like jump back in pain, holding himself. As from here, Naruto just looks at him and says he's sorry, as he would say, Onigiri. And from here, rush at Sasuke and slash him with 3 different more spots, knocking Sasuke out, as he would then turn towards his left and notice that Obito was rushing at him, and Naruto would try to cut him, but Obito would phase right through him, causing Naruto to be stunned and realize that he is not any sort of ordinary fighter. This guy is a big, massive, gigantic threat. Naruto can't cut this guy. And it's not like he's turning into fire or water or air or something. Like, no, Obito isn't existing in that plane. So he can't use armament hockey to hit the element because there is no element. Obito's literally just not there. So as much as Naruto would be able to like cut him, he isn't fast enough to actually be able to do that. And even though his observation haki alerts him of when Obito like phases back in and when Obito's about to attack him, so Naruto's able to like bend his body in different ways so that he's able to avoid Obito's attacks. Like I said, he's still unable to hit Obito. So with that, Naruto's having an extremely difficult time facing off against Obito. And as this battle progresses, Naruto would actually get excited knowing that this is probably one of the last times that he's really going to get a challenge. Like Naruto's getting to that Mihawk point where nobody can really pose a threat and he just kind of messes around. So Naruto's having the time of his life here. And Obito, he hates to admit it, but he's also having just as much fun as Naruto is, if not more. So what would pretty much end up going down here is they would just like fight with each other, clash, and Obito would be like very just like cocky, prideful, saying that he needs to give up. There's no way he's beating him. And with the absence of Kakashi here, Naruto wouldn't have access to Kamui to be able to counter Obito's attacks or anything of those sorts. So instead, Naruto would just be having a hard time until ultimately Kurama in his mindscape would end up calling to Naruto and telling him like, I could see it happening like this, like Naruto's mid-swing and suddenly like the screen fades to black with Naruto's body like moving on its own for just a couple of seconds, as in Naruto's mindscape, Kurama tells him to take his power, that while he may dislike Naruto, he hates the man under that mask. So ultimately he would fist bump Kurama, tapping into KCM2 and Sage Mode on top of that. And in this moment, alongside his observation haki and armament haki, Naruto would let out a gigantic burst of Conqueror's haki, which would literally knock out every Hokage present there. And then ultimately it would just be him and Obito standing there, as with this, Naruto's armament haki would begin, Conqueror's haki would begin like getting channeled in his blades. And Naruto would say, I'm done playing games, as Naruto would release a sword slash that not only cuts through this dimension, but every other dimension as well. Like really think about that. Sort of like Black Clover, how Yami's able to do like the dark dimension slashes. Like Naruto slices at the spot where Obito would be. And because of that, Obito literally gets cut in half in the void dimension that he teleports to, the Kamui dimension. Obito's body just falls in half. The half of his body that he cut here on like in Earth, I guess you could say, would fall flat, and his other half of his body would literally just fall in the Kamui dimension, with Obito's final moments just being spent like wondering how. From here, Naruto would swing his blades in the air as the blood would go off of his blade, and eventually Naruto picks up Sasuke as he looks around the battlefield, realizing that everybody else got knocked out, and Naruto ultimately would just treat Sasuke's injuries that he did give him and like sew him back up, saying that this is the second time like he's put Sasuke in this condition. So once Sasuke wakes up, Naruto would be in the room talking to Sasuke, where Sasuke would reveal to him why everything happened, with Naruto explaining to him that while what the village did to him was dirty, why would he punish a village who isn't responsible for the blood of the Uchiha clan? Like the person responsible for that was Danzo and Hiruzen, who are mainly dead. The village elders, he's not even sure if they are. So the people who are responsible for the sins of the past have already taken care of. Look forward, Sasuke, not behind you. As from here, Sasuke would kind of have like that little like revelation thing finally hit him. And after all this would be over, Naruto, unlike in canon, instead of going on to like become the Hokage and all this stuff, funnily enough, the roles would be reversed. Sasuke would actually inherit the mantle of Hokage, with Naruto actually going on to become a bit of a shadow Kage, just like Sasuke does in the original. And with that, Naruto would travel the lands, learning more and more sword techniques, until eventually he gets tired and just kind of becomes a hermit, where he opens his own like dojo and begins to train the next generation, trying to find somebody that's going to be able to give him a challenge, a rival. He would sort of become the Mihawk of this universe, right? And once this happens, this would conclude, what if Naruto was Zoros Reincarnation, or whatever, right? Whatever I choose to title this. And yeah, that's basically it. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. It took me like 4 or 5 days to make this video in essence, and the thumbnail itself wasn't cheap. So like the video, bros, like please. Like you guys have been begging me for these long videos. So do yourselves a favor, because if this video doesn't do good, I'm seriously just straight up not gonna want to do any more of these. Like, these take a long time to make, right? And the reason I started making short videos is because those ones get more views, like, as you can tell. Obviously, some of them don't, but most of them kind of do. So it's like, just like the videos, boys, if you guys really want me to come back, I could consider doing something where I drop one of these videos like once a week or once every 2 weeks, and then I also do the other videos on the side. But seriously, y'all got to give me a hand. So like the video, share this video with a friend, spam like mangoes in the comment down below, the mango emoji, and then yeah, just show me the support. Like, make me hyped to want to do the next what if. And the next one that I'll be doing will definitely be another Naruto what if, where like, I don't know, whatever suggestion gets the most likes in the comments down below is the one that I guess I'll end up doing. But with that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me today. I'm honestly super happy that I did this. So if you guys really do show me support, I'm gonna continue doing this. But yeah, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, that has been it for me today. You guys have a wonderful day. God bless.